You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Great. Thank you very much, TCTV. Good evening. The time is now 6:30 p.m. I'm Chairman Mike Curry, and I'd like to call this Select Board Business Meeting to order on this 14th day of June, 2023. Let's rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we begin, I'd like to state for the record that we are not only being streamed on live on TCTV cable station 8, but also our YouTube web platform. And this evening's recording will be available for later viewing on our YouTube channel. We and TCTV would be happy to subscribe. If there are any of our audience members who are or plan to record video, please let us know. And at this time, please silence all cell phones. Okay, I've got a roll call. Good evening, everyone. Everyone's here. And as always, our agenda for this evening is publicly available. The official source for town information, templetonma.gov. There you may sign up for alerts for all public meetings, as well as our town administrator's weekly report. I would also encourage those listening who have not signed up for code red alerts to do so via our website or by calling 866-939-0911, as this is the primary method for engaging with the public for important information. Although I have the discretion as chairperson to add and remove from the agenda, it has been set to allow for time, personnel resources, and public awareness. I do reserve the right to move agenda items around to best fit our business and guests. We have 22 items on our agenda this evening with an estimated meeting time of, wait for it, 3 hours. If this is your first select board meeting, we are glad that you joined us. We are proud to serve the community and will address tonight's business with patience, fairness, and efficiency. We would ask the same from our guests. Let's have a great meeting. All right. Our housekeeping section, we've got approval of minutes of prior meetings. We've got a few tonight because we're making some amendments to prior meeting minutes. You should have in front of you or in your packet meeting minutes for May 24th, 2023. Amended minutes for May 10th, 2023. That was our emergency meeting before town meeting. And amended meeting minutes of April 26, 2023. No executive board, executive session minutes. I'll give you a second to look through. I know we have amendments on the amendments for April 26th. So,
And Mr. Chair,
yeah,
I have a couple of corrections for May 24th as well.
all right, let's take them one at a time then.
Yep.
May 24th first.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I move to approve the meeting minutes from Wednesday, May 24th, 2023 with the following amendments. In section 5, approval of the meeting of the minutes of prior meetings. The votes are listed as 5-0. That was incorrect. That should read 4 yes, 0 no, 1 abstaining, because that was the abstention.
Okay.
Also, under section 7G, it is noted here that for the Scout Hall bid award, it says that Richard moved to award the bid to Fisher Construction to complete Scout Hall, seconded by Richard. That should be seconded by Griffiths.
Good catch.
That's all I've got for him.
Okay, I'm looking for a second.
Second with the amendments.
All right. On the motion to accept meeting minutes as amended for May 24th, 2023, how would you vote? Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Okay, our next set of minutes is for the emergency meeting of May 10th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the amended minutes of 5/10/23 as presented. Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Anything further on the emergency meeting? I believe it is updating, the amendment is updating the attached documents.
I believe the building in question is now down.
As long as we have the attached documents
For May tenth.
with the record, yes.
All right, anything else on the amended 5:10 emergency meeting minutes? Hearing none on the vote for those minutes, how would you vote? Matt,
I abstain.
Terry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes,
Julie,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. And our last set of minutes, they're amended meeting minutes, April 26th. The amendments, much like the May 10th, to include a document list at the end. And I believe there's going to be another. Jackie, did you have one?
you could just read it.
That's the next amended section was 5N. And I just described current made a motion for the board to accept the language proposed for a new snow policy and for the town administrator to work with the appropriate departments to ratify said policy, seconded by Griffin.
I might have you say that again. I didn't have a motion yet. Do I have a motion
sorry.
for the amended meeting minutes?
So moved.
And I need a second.
Seconded.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. The amendment has a document list at the end, and also Jackie, just what the, instead of see video.
Yeah, it says Curry made a motion for the board to accept the language proposed for a new snow policy and for the town administrator to work with the appropriate departments to ratify said policy, seconded by Griffith.
Okay, would you amend your motion
Yes.
and the second?
Yes.
Okay. All right, on the table is amended meeting minutes with an amendment for April 26, 2023. Anything further on those meeting minutes?
Mr. Chair. And just under documents used to be draft Templeton snow and ice policy. Because it's not finalized. You got that in there?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Just so you know, we lost YouTube.
Okay,
It was buffering badly and it just,
okay. Let me know when we come back up.
we'll see if it comes back up.
All right. All right, Julie, I'm gonna need you to, you take that, the draft Templeton snow and ice policy, updated motion to include that amendment as well.
Yes.
Yes.
I've got it, everything motion, updated and seconded. Anything else on April 26th? Hearing none. On the motion to accept the amended meeting minutes with amendments for April 26th, 2023, how would you vote, Matt?
I abstain.
Terry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. All right, that takes care of meeting minutes. We're up to citizen input. Hi, Gail.
Good evening. Gail Noel, Winchester Street, Baldwinville. I would just like to make a comment, okay? If anybody has seen the senior newsletter, it says the Friends of the Templeton Elders would like to offer a free special trip to Templeton Elders. And yeah, either a Boston Harbor cruise or Hart's Turkey Farm with a lake cruise. And I'm very frustrated about this because the money that was raised, approximately 30,000 in individual donations and 28 from the mac and cheese. All those were raised for the building of the kitchen. And I strongly disagree that it be spent on a cruise. Just want to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Okay, anything else for citizen input? Hi, Jeff.
Evening,
Good evening.
out there in TV land, Jeff Bennett.
Only TV land.
At the last meeting, on May 24th, 2023, 19 minutes and 30 seconds in, new chairman Mike Curry stated in part that the board would preserve and follow select board policies in our handbook. Select Board's operating procedures policy, section B, page 4, item 3. Availability of meeting packet, the meeting packet complete with all support materials available at the time shall be transmitted to the board members electronically no later than 5 p.m. on Friday preceding the meeting. Thereafter, it shall be available to the general public in paper form in the Board of Selectmen's office and on the town website. I ducked into the office to see if there's anything on the counter or anything. And I didn't see any, so I don't know if you have them on a table. If there's supposed to be someone in there to ask, but that's what your policy says. So if somebody comes in,
You as a private citizen came in looking for it.
yes,
Okay.
but because
Okay.
your policy's on the website and
I just wanted to clarify.
I tend to read them.
Mhm.
Second, thing is the financial management policy. Section H7, page 27. Beginning in fiscal year 2019, the accountant and treasurer collector will develop a cash flow forecast for the upcoming fiscal year after approval of the annual budget and before July 1 each year. I went looking for this. And I sent an email several months or more ago to the town administrator about this, asking where I could find it. I went looking on the website. I looked in all the budget books. I looked electronically and hard copy. I looked in the voters' guides. I looked under the treasurer's office, the accountant's office, and I cannot find that. So I'd just like to know if that has been being done and if they're available for the public, where they would be.
Cash, so the FY 24 cash forecast is what you're looking for.
There should be, if they were doing it beginning in fiscal 19, there should be. however many that
I just
is.
want to make sure I'm taking the right note, if Adam's not taking.
And lastly, June 5th, 2023, I sent an email to the town administrator, to Mike Curry and to Tim Toth. And this was concerning information posted on the town website. And on the May 24th, 2023 meeting, there were a vote to appoint Tim Toth to the Capital Improvements Committee. As of today, I looked and it still has Mike Curry as the selectman. And on the Facebook page of the town under VSO, it still has Tim Batchel listed. And I believe our last VSO was Peter Noel.
Yep.
And I bring that up because I forget, not too many months ago, I believe Mike Curry had made a thing that the board would create a follow-up list. So when the board said
Action item,
that to
yeah.
keep up with these things. And I don't know who's transmitting what to who, but
Yeah,
again, I sent an email out and the last thing I would like to see is the select board meeting of April 26, 2023. Then chair was Tim Toth. We had a discussion and he brought up the point to have a status update and an estimated time of completion for posting. An honest to goodness list of all the boards, commissions and committees. Currently filled seats with their date of term and their expiration and all of the unfilled seats. And with the noted things that I just said, you know, that the website is not 100% accurate with all the committees, the big, you know, vacancies. And if you want to apply for something, how do you know, like the capital improvements, you can go read the bylaw if you so check, but that's like go here and then you have to go here. That, you know, that's like basically a one-year appointment,
Mhm.
you know, tell it, and then, but to Tim's point, you look on the boards and committees and you don't always see under all of them when did the term expired and how long it is, because I mean, there was a big thing in the Gardner News that there are many communities where Nobody's volunteering. They don't have people.
Yep, I saw that.
And it's hard to choose if you want to volunteer, if you don't know, or it's hard to find out, well, how long am I going to serve for? If it's like a 1 year thing, well, maybe I'll try that. Or, maybe even a 2, but if it's 3 or longer.
Mm.
And like, the cultural council, they rotate, so that's the important thing to know. I get on that, I can only serve this long, then I'm gonna have to get off for,
Mhm.
I believe it's a year, so. That's just some of the things I saw, since the last meeting and looking at the website and the policy.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. I got
Thanks.
it all. All right, citizen input. I know you had senior center barbecue.
Center barbecue next Thursday. I will be cooking up there again this year. And looking forward to it.
Any other citizen input?
They had signups for swimming tonight, and the next sign up, the swimming's gonna run from July 10th to August 10th at the Templeton Fishing Game. And the next sign up will be June 24th from 9, it's a Saturday from 9:30 to 10:30. And it was a good turnout too.
Thanks, Terry.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to take a second and give a big thank you to Dave Richards, truck and excavating. He assisted us with unclogging one of the 2 pipes on what he wrote today. And I appreciate his service.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. Any other citizen input? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna jump into new business. First is introductions of new employees. Mr. Keith Bennett.
I would like to introduce our newest full-time officer. He is replacing an officer that left in May, is William Chapman. Bill comes to us from Phillipston. He has over 10 and a half years of experience. He's rather familiar to a lot of you. He is also a local boy. He grew up on South Road, and we're happy to have him come over and join our force.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Officer Chapman, thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Welcome aboard.
Your commute just got a lot shorter.
Yeah, honestly, thank you very much for having me and, thank you to Chief Bennett, of course. Adam for getting things together, Molly and Jackie working on paperwork, getting all that squared away. It's kind of a dream come true, actually, going up on South Road and, just, very community minded, how I like doing business. And, it's really excellent because working over there in Phillipston, they've always been sister towns,
Right.
And it's really kind of neat. I was now working for Templeton, gonna be able to serve a lot of the same public that, I really love.
Yeah.
Going to Walt Lawrence's 90th birthday party and, just kind of seeing everybody there and it's just.
Absolutely. How old did he turn?
90.
Wow.
So kind of a pillar in the community.
I wouldn't have a horse ring if it wasn't for him, so.
Yeah, it's just, you have so many awesome people in Templeton. It's really an honor to serve the community and,
Yep.
Chief Bennett's done a great job with the police department, so it's an honor to serve alongside the guys and, it should be great.
Yeah, symbiotic relationship with Phillipson as well, so that's good.
Yeah, it's great. So thank
Great.
you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Excited.
Pleasure to have you. Welcome.
I think that's the only new employee, right?
We will have a new senior center employee at the next meeting, Mr. Chair.
What's that?
We'll have the new senior center employee at the next meeting, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And I hear that you've gotten BSO and grant writer applications. More than one or two.
Good news there. Yeah, the interviews for VSO will be tomorrow and we're hopeful the next week or so we'll have the interviews for the grant writer. So there's still a time frame open for the grant writer. So make sure,
Got it.
get those in. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, we're gonna move into item B, that is going to be our annual reappointments. In the packet. So we're gonna go ahead and read all the names after we read the motion, but I just did want to mention that the packet list is going to differ with what the list being read out loud. James Gilbert is been crossed out in what the list that we're reading here tonight, so it's only John Columbus from Monty Tech, Templeton's representative on that. Otherwise, we're ready to go.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Vice.
I move we appoint the following individuals to the following positions for a one-year term effective 1 July 2023 and expiring 30 June 2024. For the Agricultural Commission, Timothy Roddy. Boynton Library Trustees, Maria Barnes and John Henshaw. Cable TV Advisory Committee, Patricia Gale, Alexander Gage Pacier. Capital Improvements Committee, Justice Graves and Tom Smith. Conservation Commission, George Andrews. Council on Aging Board, Mary Enstrom, Thomas Enstrom. Cultural Council, Patricia Gale, Carol Clark. Economic Development Industrial Corporation, Glenn Eaton, Steve Castle, Michael Curry. Historical Commission, Michael Dixon, John Brooks, George Collard. Monty Tech School Committee Town Rep, John Columbus. Official Marker of Boundaries, Fred Henshaw. Open Space Committee, John Henshaw, Kerry Novak, and Dennis Rich. Parks and Recreation Commission, Derek Sutton, Candace Graves, Hunter Graves, Jessica Sutton. Scholarship Committee, Sheila Taylor, Katrina Bomil. Mart Advisory Board, Adam Lamontagne. Trustees of the Otis Rice Fund, the Select Board. The Julie A. Sawyer Fund, the Select Board. The Edith Nichols Stevens Fund, the Select Board. Porter Newton Fund, the Select Board. And the Luella A. Leland Fund, the Select Board.
Second,
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that list of appointments?
On the Monty Tech School Committee Town Rep, we need to just take that off altogether. That reappointment needs to be made with a joint meeting with Monty Tech School Committee. I'm gonna work on getting them here the next meeting,
Okay,
the first one in July, so we can just remove that one.
okay. Tim, will you amend?
I will amend to strike
amendment
that
second.
portion.
Okay, I've got that amendment with the second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none on the annual reappointments for the list that was read aloud and amended, how would you vote? Matt,
Yes.
Harry?
Yes,
Julie?
Yes,
Tim?
Yes.
And I abstain. And so we've got our annual reappointments taken care of. Fantastic. All right, we're gonna move into a series of public hearings. We've got, first one is going to be concerning Otter River Hotel, so I would entertain a motion to enter into a public hearing with action related to Otter River Hotel violations of MGL 138, including subsection 26 for appointing a local manager.
so moved.
second,
Tim and Terry on the motion and the second.
You beat me.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me.
We'll flip for it.
Okay, anything further on that motion for the public hearing? Hearing none, how do you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
yes,
Julie?
Yes,
Tim?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. We are in public hearing as of 7:54.
6:53.
Okay, just for those watching, hearings are pretty simple. You have a petition or the person who's bringing whatever action, it's already been posted. Then you have any rebuttal or if there's dissension from whatever that item, that petition is, it goes against it. The select board can ask questions. A final recommendation is made by the petitioner, then we close the hearing, then we deliberate. So only questions are done by the board and any other allowable questions that I see fit during the hearing. So first one, our petitioner is going to be Adam. Is that Adam or Ryan? Are you going to read the petition for that? Or
I'll have it
the
during both of
recommendation?
us.
Yep.
Take this. Mr.
All right,
Chair.
Ryan. Good evening.
Good evening. So is it you'd like the sort of what we're trying to do, what the town is trying to do here? Okay, well, or what the issues are. I can tell you what the two issues that the board really needs to decide upon. So this hearing was noticed to the LLC, which has been long since dissolved, and to the attorney representing the estate of Ken Buzzell, who was involved with the LLC as well and was the manager of the Otter River Hotel, as is required by the Massachusetts general laws. So every LLC that holds a license needs to have a manager appointed at all times. And so sort of the two issues with this license are that the LLC has been dissolved and technically can't hold a license at all at this point. And it certainly can't appoint a new manager. And so really in order to allow this business or this building, this property to continue to function as a licensed premises, the license really can't be transferred because the LLC doesn't exist anymore, and you need a certificate of good standing in order to transfer a license. So really the only way to have a business validly have a license there is to have this one revoked. And so the reasons to do that would be if the board finds, obviously, if the LLC is dissolved, it can't hold a license. And if it can't appoint a manager, and the board previously had ordered, given the license holder 30 days to appoint a new manager, that hasn't happened. So the board could also find a violation of that order and the underlying sections of the general laws that requires a license holder to appoint a manager. And so the board really needs to decide whether those facts are, the real facts for it. And then the remedy, either if the board finds that the license holder is in violation, it really, revocation is the only possible legal remedy here. It can't, so the board can choose not to act on this at all, but the license holder would continue to be in violation of the Massachusetts general laws and operating without a license. And so those are the issues.
Okay, yeah, you almost kind of spoke again, the where it's a for and against thing. You almost spoke to the against as well, like the inaction is the anti side of it. Whereas
there's no risk to the board really in terms of allowing the business to keep operating. It is a violation of Chapter 138, but that risk is on the business and not on the town.
Understood. Okay. Is there anyone speaking on behalf of the LLC? Is anyone else speaking on this subject at all within the audience? Okay, hearing none. Board questions. Are there any additional questions for Attorney Holmquist? Polly.
I just wanted to ask a question for clarification. Ryan, am I correct that if the board decides not to revoke the license, then the new LLC cannot come in and apply for their liquor license?
That's correct. So there can only be one liquor license at that address. And
Okay.
so there's no way for a new manager or owner to apply for a second license at the address.
Okay. I just
Good
wanted to-
clarification.
Yeah, and I want to also let the board know that I did receive a call from Attorney Flick's office today asking a couple questions about getting it ready. So they're prepared to get that liquor license in. Just so
Okay.
you know.
Thanks for the
Oh, I appreciate
clarification.
that.
So,
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, so I'm wondering, we sent them notification that they needed to appoint someone or show someone of interest. And when did we do that?
You have a date?
I believe it was.
Yeah, kind of
The first hearing?
repeatedly.
We've
try
had
to-
hearings on this and we've repeatedly attempted to contact this business. And we have not had any success.
Correct.
To this date, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Because the LLC is dissolved.
Yeah.
I think is probably why.
But
They're
the
not
business
non-
is still running. Never closed their doors, correct?
Right,
Correct.
but like Ryan was saying, that's not on us. It's an ABCC violation.
Right, okay.
Right, so we're part of we would be part of the vehicle to correct the situation by addressing the fact that the LLC is now defunct.
Right.
So, that's the recommendation of
But
the
there's
petition.
no-
Ryan's kind of the petitioner is us, the town, but she's acting on behalf of the town to say, this is what needs to happen.
Right.
Right, from a hearing perspective.
This is the first step in that
This is
by
the
revoking the
first.
license, it forces, then they can move forward with a new LLC that can apply for a
Yeah.
new license, which then puts them back into legal status. Yeah.
What I want to clarify, it's the only step for
Yeah.
what this hearing is.
Right.
In the greater scheme of things, as Holly was alluding to, yeah, they are trying to, there is another party that's
Right.
not a part of this hearing that is trying to do the
that.
right thing, and
Yeah.
this enables that.
This
correct?
enables that process. Right.
Any other questions? Okay, final recommendation, Brian, is basically as you had, unless there's any other information you wanted to add, the recommendation is for revocation.
If the board makes those findings as far as the LLC's been dissolved.
Yep.
And and they haven't appointed a new manager as the board ordered them to, then really the choices are probably not to act or to revoke the license. The other remedies, modification or cancellation, aren't really appropriate to those circumstances.
And it's based on the information that we have as of 7 o'clock. Okay, thanks for that recommendation. I'll entertain a motion to come out of the public hearing.
So moved.
So
Second.
seconded.
Okay, Terry and Matt are the motion in the second. On the motion to come out of public hearing, how do you vote? Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We're at a public hearing at 7:03. I think it's I'm not sure if that clock, 7:02. Okay, is deliberation or I'll accept a motion at this time on the matter of the LLC.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I move to find that First CP 29 Main Street LLC has been dissolved, can no longer carry out the functions required by Mass General Law, Chapter 138. And the violation of our Select Board April 26, 2023 order to appoint a manager before May 31st, 2023 is ongoing. Further, to revoke Section 12, all alcohol licenses held by First CP 29 Main Street LLC pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64. And to authorize Town Council to draft a decision capturing the board's decision and vote, and authorize the chair to sign said decision and send notice to the decision of the ABCC and the licensee as required under Chapter 138 of the general laws.
Second. Great job.
I have a motion in a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Holly.
just sitting here processing this, and I'm wondering if Ryan would know, the licenses that go with the liquor license, there's a automatic amusement and a live entertainment that go along with the liquor licenses. Should we add that to the motion to revoke those as well?
So you would probably need to have a separate notice and hearing to do that. But I'm not aware that you can't have more than one on the same premises like you, as with the liquor license. That's certainly something to look into, but you couldn't do it tonight because you need to notice it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for that, Holly. All right, any further questions on Otter River Hotel LLC First CP? Okay, hearing none on the motion to dissolve and for the chair to sign How would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. Would you like me to stay on for item N or should I sign off? Sorry, M.
I don't know. Probably not, Ryan. I
Okay.
don't think so.
Okay,
All right,
well,
thank
then thanks. Have a good night.
You
Have a
too.
good night, Ryan. Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, we've got 4 poll hearings. Brooks Village Road, Old North Road, South Road, and Hubbardston Road. I'll accept we're gonna, basically for these hearings, we're gonna take them one at a time, go through the hearing, come out of the hearing, vote, go back into hearing, and rinse and repeat. So I'll accept a motion to open the public hearing on the utility pole for Brooks Village Road.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I've got Julie and Terry on that. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none on opening the public hearing. How do you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We are in public hearing as of 7:06. Mr. Barry, how are you, Tom? Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I apologize in advance for monopolizing the meeting for hearing.
Sorry to take you away on such a busy afternoon.
Yeah, I had a little excitement earlier. So the first hearing is for Brooks Village Road. For those of you that are familiar, there is a pole right in the middle of a 5-way intersection of Brooks Village Road, Old North Road, Ruth Road, and Queen Lake Road. We're looking to get that out of there. It's old, it needs to be replaced, and it would be foolish to put it in the same location. So we're looking to move it about 35 feet toward Queen Lake Road and Phillipston Road. There's a little grass island there. I've met with all the other utilities that are on that pole. It's quite a busy pole. There's us, Comcast, Verizon, and Mass Broadband. And we've kind of come up with a plan so that everybody's happy. That's kind of the reason for the Old North Road pole petition also. So kind of a bunch of things had to come in line for this busy intersection pole to move. So that's the first step is the Brooks Village Road, and then there's the Old North Road pole, which we can discuss later. But the pole will be moved into that island. There'll be, I think, 3 anchors because there's kind of wires coming from every bunch of directions there. All the utilities have kind of come into agreement that that works, and that'll clean up that intersection and get the pole out of there.
Great. Any questions for Tom?
Straightforward.
What do 3 anchors look like?
They're just rods that get drilled into the ground. They're about 8 feet for guying.
Yeah.
So when you have a wire pulling on a pole, it kind of offsets it so that it doesn't pull the pole over.
Would there be room for any other services, or is that a full pole?
This is gonna be a 45-foot pole. I believe it's a 35-foot now, so it'll be taller. So it'll give a little bit of room on it. So if another utility wanted to attach to it, there should be room.
It really is right out in the middle.
Yeah, how it hasn't been
Yeah.
hit is.
Yeah.
Give you room for the rotary.
Yeah, roundabout.
Just had to go.
All right, any other questions for Tom? Hearing none. Oh, go ahead.
So it's going on the, that where the tree was, where the tree got taken down, where they just planted a little tree? Is that where it's going? On that little intersection, so when you go out from Green Lake Road, is that where it's?
Yeah,
going?
there's a triangle of
Yes, I believe there was a tree that was removed
Yeah.
there. I don't know what.
Yeah, somebody hit it. They came flying down, they hit the tree and they went into the property that used to be Mr. Pease's family's property. That was just recently, not that long ago when that happened. And so that will be right where the bus stop is. Will it have any, like, when you pull out, will like, if you pull out, that's the intersection, right? So now you're gonna pull, so you look to the left where Pease is, right? Or you look to the right. Is it gonna block your vision? Line of sight is what I'm thinking. It's gonna be a good, okay, because people, when they pull into that, like even when you put that new stop thing there, they pull wide into that. And I'm just wondering, being there, I know the middle's ridiculous too, but I didn't know why it was going on that side. I'm surprised it didn't go on the other arm with that, Terry's, the other Terry's road.
Oh,
Yeah,
North
Road.
Main.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't go on that
I
side.
mean, Old North.
We did look at that too, but there was so many players there that this kind of worked out the best.
Yeah, I just that when I pull out, like, I just feel like there's like more pulling
I
out
get ya.
this side than that side.
Yeah, I hear what you're
When I
saying.
feel like.
I feel that way at Partridgeville.
so
When I come out of
ridiculous.
Partridgeville Road, I
Yeah.
feel that pull,
Yeah, 'cause you have
especially
to
when there
look
are
up.
signs there.
You're not just looking, you have to look up. the
Got
road,
it.
it's Pease's Road, then you have to look at Booth Road, and then you have to look over here.
Brooks
and you have to
Village,
look
yeah,
North, you have to work at all of it.
yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that when we pull out, we can see it all still.
Potentially not have any signs put on it
Yeah,
or
and
anything.
just because of that accident, when that car came flying and it hit the tree and it flipped into their property, it was scary.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone in opposition? Okay, hearing none. Any final questions for Tom? Hearing none. Tom, what's your final recommendation?
I would like to get the pole out of the intersection
And put it in the southeast
and put it in,
section.
yes, as per the drawing, yes.
Oh, that's.
All right. If there are no further questions, then I would entertain. We're good back there? No, no problem. I just want to make sure before we come out of the hearing.
Yeah, picture of the flipped,
Out. I would entertain a motion to come out of the public hearing for the Brooks Village Road utility pole.
So moved.
Second. Motion in a second. Anything further? Hearing none on the motion to come out of public hearing. How do you vote? Matt,
Yes.
Harry?
Yes,
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We are out of public meeting at 7:13. I'd entertain a motion on the installation of Brooks Village Road utility pole.
So moved.
second,
Okay, I have a motion for the installation of a utility pole at Brooks Village Road with a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none on the motion to install a utility pole at Brooks Village Road as discussed this evening. How would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Carrie?
yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Okay, next, I would entertain a motion to go into public hearing for a utility pole at 1 Old North Road.
So moved,
No, she got there first.
Second.
Okay. I got Terry and Julie for the second. Yeah, anything else on that motion? Hearing none. On the motion to go into public hearing for the utility pole at 1 Old North Road, how would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We are in public hearing as of 7:14. Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Hi,
Uh,
Tom.
Hello. So this is kind of the second half of that pole that we just talked about. We're looking to move the first pole on Old North Road approximately 37 feet closer to the 5-way intersection. That'll allow us to line it up with the new pole 39 Brooks Village Road and pole 2 Old North Road. There's currently a push pole on there that is going to be coming out of there. And Verizon will need an anchor for their cables going down Old North Road. They'll be getting rid of the push pole and adding an anchor at that pole.
Okay, does the board have any questions for Tom?
37 feet closer to the intersection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hearing no questions from the board, any questions for Tom from the audience? Hearing none, are there any opposed to the installation of a pole at 1 Old North? Okay, hearing none. Any final questions from the board? Hearing none. Tom, what's your recommendation?
I would ask to move the poll as presented.
All right, I would entertain a motion to come out of public hearing for utility pole at 1 Old North Road.
So move.
Again,
I have a motion and a second. And no further comments on that motion. For the coming out of public hearing, how would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
yes,
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I would entertain a motion for the installation of a utility pole at 1 Old North Road.
so moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Anything further on the installation of a utility pole at 1 Old North Road?
Just one last, is it gonna be the same size as the other one? 45 feet,
No, that will be a 40-foot pole.
40 foot?
40 is standard.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion on the table for installation. Anything else? Hearing nothing further on the motion to install a utility pole at 1 Old North Road, how do you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes,
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. All right, I would entertain a motion to go into a public hearing for a utility pole installation at South Road near 1 Dolbear Hill Road.
So moved.
Mr. Chairman, I'm apologize for interrupting you. That will be a 35-foot pole on pole 1.
Okay,
35-foot pole.
is 35 standard?
Yes, for single phase, back roads. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I was looking for a motion for the installation of a utility pole, South Road near 1 Dolbear Hill Road.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and I have a second. Okay, this is for opening the public hearing. Hearing nothing further on the opening of the public hearing, how would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We're in public hearing as of 7:17. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Very nice to see you.
Okay,
Hi,
now we're
Tom.
over on South Road at Dolbear Hill. We are looking to put a guy pole in across from pole 30 South Road to guide the lines going up Dolbear Hill Road. We are going to be changing the primary conductors going up Dolbear Hill Road. And right now, they're just being guided by the corner being made by the South Road lines. We like to put a dedicated guy pole in there. This would be a joint owned pole with Verizon. They would have a guy wire also located as shown in the drawing there. That one would be, in line with pole 30 South Road and pole 1 Dolbear Hill Road. And there would be 2 guy wires crossing South Road. That pole would be a 40-foot pole. We'll also be changing pole 30 South Road in place. We'll be installing a 45-foot pole there. So there should be plenty of height with the guy wires crossing South Road. And that is, as shown adjacent to the water tank is the video.
Got it.
Where we're working.
Are there any other questions from the board or Tom? Okay, any questions from the audience? Are there anyone opposed to the installation of a pole at Dolbear Hill?
I'm sorry, is it, are they both 45 feet? Or,
No, the street pole, pole 30 will be a 45, and the new pole that I'm looking to add across the street will be a 40. 5 feet,
plenty of room for trucks.
yes, yeah. normally we. For a normal street pole is a 40-footer, and we normally would put a 35, 5 feet shorter, but because of. It could be, to give plenty of clearance, we're going with a 45 and a 40 at this location.
What's the guy wire?
It's just a steel wire to back up a wire that's dead ended on another pole. So to kind of offset the wires going down Dolby Hill Road, we have another wire pulling the other way. So it doesn't move.
Well done.
There's no one was against it. Final questions for the board? Hearing none. Tom, what's your recommendation?
To install the pole.
All right. Thank you for that. I would entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further comment on coming out of public hearing? Hearing none on the motion to come out of public hearing for the utility pole installation at 1 Old North Road. Sorry, South Road near Dolby Hill Road. How would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. We are out of public hearing at 7:21. I would entertain a motion to install a utility pole at South Road near 1 Dover Hill Road.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have Matt and Julie, motion in a second. Any further deliberation? Good questions, Terry. Okay, hearing no further questions on the motion to install, to approve the installation of a utility pole at South Road near 1 Dover Hill Road. How would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, last one. I am in a butter for Hubbardston Road public hearing, so if I could ask you, Tim, to take over the public hearing for Hubbardston Road.
Certainly. So I would entertain a motion to open a public hearing for utility pole. Hubbardston Road near Crossroad.
So moved.
Second.
Terry, get the motion. Julie, the second. Public hearing is now open at 7:22 PM.
Good evening again.
Good evening. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll vote. I'm sorry. Yep, we'll vote. How do we vote? Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know,
Okay.
I'll vote to have the
And I vote. Public hearing in session at 7:23 PM, my faux pas. Good evening again, Tom.
Good evening. Okay, last one.
So we're looking at Hubbardston Road now. Between Crossroad and the Hubbardston Town Line, a developer has purchased approximately 15-acre parcel of land. If you're heading toward Hubbardston, it would be on the left. And they're looking to put 4 single-family homes there. So we would like to install 9 40-foot poles to extend electric and cable TV services to service those 4 new homes. The last pole currently that we have is number 79. You look in the drawing, and that is right at house number 491, Hubbardston Road. So from there, we would.
Oh, I said, I hear nice people live there.
Oh,
From there, we would cross the road, and the new poles would all be on the same road. The first pole, our proposed number 80, would have a corner anchor. And from there, it would be a straight shot all the way to the final pole, which would be our number 88. And that would have a dead end anchor. The spans are between 150 and 160 feet or so. And that will allow us to service those homes, which will have underground services from still to be determined which poles are going to feed which homes, but that they'll be utilized for that.
Underground service from the street to the home itself.
Yeah. Yeah, all on the same side.
Right.
Yep.
Any questions from any of the board members as presented? Hearing none, any questions from abutters or anybody in the audience?
I have a question as an abutter. When do you think that this will all happen if approved?
Soon, in the next probably month or so, we'll get started. There will be need to be some tree trimming, and a couple of smaller trees removed. I did meet Bob out there and he took a look at it and didn't see any issue with what we were looking to do. So that'll be the first order of business, and then we'll, get the poles in and run the wire. So I would say within a couple of months.
Okay.
Do the people lose power and services while you're going through the change?
No,
Go ahead.
Can you explain to me, why do we have to have 9 poles for 4 new homes? I'm just a little confused on that one.
just due,
I mean, I know a lot of it's going underground, but like you need 9,
just due to the distance.
the distance, that's what I'm thinking, because there's 15 acres, okay.
Yeah, the total distance from the furthest lot is here. I want to say it's about 1,400 feet.
Okay,
So just to get there, we just need that many.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to come out of public hearing.
So moved.
So second,
Motion by Julie, second by Terry. Bring this to a vote. How do you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at 7:27 PM. I would entertain a motion for the work on the pole, Hubbardston Road near Crossroad, as presented by Mr. Barry.
So moved.
Second,
Motion duly made and seconded. Any further discussion from the board?
good life cycle for the trees.
Hearing none,
Carbon,
we'll bring this to the vote. Mr. Rivard,
Yes.
Ms. Griffiths,
yes.
Ms. Richard,
Yes.
Mr. Curry.
Abstain.
I vote yes. I will turn the chair to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Tom, we made it.
We
did.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Hey,
Thank you, John.
Good
Appreciate
night,
it.
Tom. Thank you.
All right, looks like we've got Elaine back on, right on time. For item H, we have a presentation, possible action related to a personal policy update. Elaine, oh, where'd she go?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. I lost audio there. I apologize, or video. I apologize. If you give me a minute, I'll come back in on that.
sure.
Great.
Just to kind of fill in the gap while she comes back on. So we've got our Templeton personal policies and procedures. And part of our agreement, contract, say, agreement with Paychex is that they were do a review of our personnel policies and procedures. So in the packet that is online, the very large 197 page packet with lots of documentations, you will see 2 iterations of the personnel policy. There is a tracked changes Word document with highlights, strike throughs, and comments in the right margin. And then there is a clean version directly afterwards. And what Elaine with, oh, she's back on. What Elaine has done is done a review That's what she does for paychecks and is going to make a presentation to the board this evening with the changes that they are making recommendations on. Hopefully I teed it up well for you, Elaine. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for inviting me to this meeting. It couldn't have been a better tee up, so that's wonderful. So I just want to give you a brief background, some brief information about me and my role with the town. I'm Elaine Glashinsky. I have over 20 years of HR experience. I've worked for Paychecks for a number of years, and I am the Paychecks human resource business partner to the town, working with Holly Young. And the project that we've been working on is exactly what was stated, the handbook and updating it. My service is wider than that. I consult on all things HR, so it can be compliance, it can be adverse employment action, it can be the building blocks of HR, like the handbook, job descriptions, and consulting on any HR issue that comes up. One of the components of this service there are a variety of resources that are also available, and one of them is a third-party provider we work with, which is called Mineral. Mineral is a great, and Holly has access to Mineral, as do I, and that service provides HR compliance information. It's a really deep and wide tool as it relates to HR. There are things like templates, policy suggestions, toolkits, law alerts, compliance information that's available. And then there is a handbook builder component, and it's a really great resource. It's very user-friendly. Holly can go in and access that, and as can I. In my work with Holly, what we decided to do was to keep your handbook structured as it was, and my job was to go into Mineral and look at the handbook builder to find out what policies were federal and state policies were required. So the way that looks in Mineral is if you go to the handbook builder, they will give you a breakdown by your state and federal of any required policies, best practice policies, and optional policies. So all I did was look at the required policy, and I made a comparison between what the policy was, the required policy was in Mineral, and how did that relate to a similar policy in your original handbook. So in some instances, the policy was referenced, such as an example of that would be the disability. Let me just pull that back up, please.
Yep, that's
So the disability accommodation, what you see in this draft handbook is the exact policy as it is in Mineral. And the value of using Mineral's policy is if you use it as it's written, it is compliant. So you can trust that any required policy that we moved into your handbook from Mineral is written in a way that is fully compliant with the law that it relates to. If you were to change the language or customize it, then you lose that guarantee of compliance, but we didn't do that. We just moved policies in there that reflected the compliance written in Mineral. Additionally, you may have made reference to one of those policies in the handbook, and again, that would be where we added the policy. So if you look at the track change, the document with the track changes in there, you'll see the dialogue between Holly and myself and how we arrived at what we did, what the final version is. Again, really the bulk of the handbook is what was already existed, and then we updated the required policies.
Okay.
We didn't add any best practices. We didn't add any optional policies. We just looked at compliance.
Okay, Elaine, just for a point of clarification, I know that I was talking with Holly before the meeting. Microsoft sometimes with track changes, it's difficult because it assigns it unless you say, I want to, this was what I want my name to be, it assigns you codes or otherwise. So in the comment section, you are GE or GE and then YH, looks like they just reversed your initials. So young Holly is YH and Elaine, you are GE. I think that's good to just clarify, just so we could see the conversation.
Certainly.
Got it. Everyone understand that?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I'm sorry, Elaine, go ahead.
No, I wanted to pause to see if you had any questions so far.
What year was Mineral created? Mineral.
Oh, I don't know. That's such a good question. So it's a product that it's a company rather. That was actually, there was a it folded in, it took on a different HR compliance company. But I can find out that information and provide it to Holly so that she can provide it to you.
Yeah,
I would appreciate it because I have a problem with some of the language. I feel like it's rather awkward. I don't believe pregnancy is a disability and I don't believe lactation should come under disability. I just find that language in this day and age off. I know you said don't change the language that it's compliant, but I don't believe pregnancy is a disability.
is it in the same
It's
section?
on page 4. And it says, this
Okay.
policy may not be appropriate in its entirety for the employees working in the state of Montana. Would that be a strike through? I would also appreciate to have more time to go through this.
Mhm.
Since we end up.
Go ahead, Adam.
Well, so what Terry's suggestion I think is appropriate, because there's a couple other things here that we need to clean up. It still has selectmen language in here. Need to update that to select board and human resources system. We no longer have that. So we'll have to update that to assistant town administrator. So I think this is an opportunity for us to clean up some of the other housekeeping as we're going through this. So I think Terry's suggestion, have more
Yeah.
time to go through it, I think is appropriate.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
and process wise, as Holly was, just trying to make sure that we were going,
Yeah.
we knew why we were gonna get briefed. I think that was excellent. The biggest question that I had going into it was mineral. Like I wasn't sure what kind, I knew it had to do with compliance. I knew this had to do with best practices, but that was a term that I was using rather than compliance and HR resource as Elaine described it. So I agree with both of you.
And this selectmen instead of select board.
Yep.
Just, that's why I asked what year was it? In Templeton, we changed our policy to, we're referenced as select board instead of selectmen.
Certainly. And that is definitely part of the process where the client, the town and the board now would look and make decisions about what edits you would like, language you would want to change. I feel I'm doing my due diligence just by letting you know that. And also, I will say Mineral is constantly updating. So one of the features that is available to Holly is to sign up for email alerts on policy updates. So they are producing in the moment information and updates. And with regard to the policy that you were looking at, they might have just taken language from the legislation and used what was there. And I'm sorry, could you tell me again what policy that was?
Pardon me?
Was it on
No.
page 4, was the disability accommodation?
Yes.
Okay. So I will get back to Holly on when the company was started, how long they've been around, and I'll look to see, I'll go into Mineral and find their source information and provide that as well.
Wonderful. It'll give me more time to read too. I appreciate it.
Certainly.
Give me one second. Any other questions for Elaine from the board? All right, yeah, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, so once your policy is established and put in mineral, you know, as the new updates become available, how do you?
No, so it's, our policy is our policy, and we've done the review based on mineral as a tool, looking at ours. So if something did change, state, national level, ADA, something like that, mineral is the watchdog that basically, like she was talking about, alerts. They would let us know, hey, this changed. You need to change your policy now, or we recommend that you make that change. That's part of service in other ways. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I do just want to specify, you have to sign, so the alert exists in mineral. So if you went to mineral, if Holly went to mineral and opened up the handbook, it would show you would show her all of the policy alerts. If you want to be notified of them, then Holly would sign up for those emails. And Holly, I can work with you it's very easy, but I can work with you to set that up. If you haven't already, you may have already done that.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All right, well, Elaine, I really appreciate you taking your evening with us and doing a great job with all this work, bringing the knowledge to us. I would recommend that we would table this for a next meeting, postpone. Yep, postpone this as an action item. It was a great discussion. Well, let's take the action item after the board has some time to read, and we take a look at some of the other items. I know Terry had a lot of good points in there. You've got a good eye for proofreading. Out of all the stuff, you're always catch that stuff. That's really good. Elaine, anything else before we move on?
No, I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to, see all your happy faces and present that information. And I look forward to your feedback and questions.
Great. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Elaine.
so much, Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
You too.
I would entertain a motion to postpone any action related to the personal policy update.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion in a second. Anything further on postponing the personnel policy update?
Do we want to set a date for
I was just gonna suggest that the call the chair.
what?
We don't, I don't,
A date.
just to reattack. It'll come back. They'll make a recommendation. It's nothing pressing. I mean,
Okay.
it's compliance language. I get that, but I'll trust it to them to bring it back up to get on the agenda.
Should I contact them with anything or?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's been given to us to digest or otherwise. We won't deliberate amongst ourselves, but if you had any clarifications or you don't want to move to Montana or something like that. Montana's not coming to us anytime soon, so. Anything further? Right, hearing nothing on the motion to postpone the personal policy update to a TBD time. Would you vote now?
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Lou, vote to postpone.
Yes.
Okay, and Tim,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you very much.
Sorry, the Montana thing was thrown out.
Me too.
I'm watching Yellowstone currently. so-
I like that. show.
Sometimes when they put compliance language in there, like, like it said, this offer is not applicable in New Jersey. I thought it was one of those things. I'm like, but Montana's never gonna be here. Why include it?
Sorry.
All right, next on the agenda, we have action related to an ARPA HVAC request from Chief Bennett. Chief, good evening.
Evening. So as you are all well aware of our ongoing HVAC issues at the new station. I hate to say that, new station issues, but so we went out to bid. It was a long process. The bid was kind of messed up the way it went out. We got one bid back. It was beyond the funds we had to do the job. So we formulated the bid again so that we can put it back out, one shot this time, hopefully. So we are asking for $275,000 out of ARPA in order to meet that bid. Hopefully that's enough. We also have an additional 25,000 plus in a building account So that gives us a little cushion. And that will go out to bid. Hopefully we'll get some more bids this time and we'll be able to rectify that problem.
Mr. Chair, if I could further add.
Go ahead.
So when the bid package initially went out the first time, we had some designs from the engineer. Then the engineer came back with further specifications we wanted to add, so we were doing it in a addendums, which isn't ideal. So this time when we go out, it'll be a complete bid package with those all in the original bid package as opposed to, that's what the chief mentioned, it wasn't exactly as, it was a little bit on the sloppier side
Yeah, it was
than I would. And I would normally,
Is this ARPA request, there's not a date on it. Is this the original or is this updated based on what you were just saying?
This
Two
wasn't,
seventy-five,
this,
because this did go to capital and this
yes,
was.
but this
considered-
wasn't an original opera request. This was after.
But it was presented to capital.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
oh, I believe, Mr. Chair, if I can, I believe the way it was presented, then it went to capital. Then capital, I believe, recommended it out of the ARPA.
Yes.
Is that what the clarification was, Mr. Chair?
Well, we've got the ARPA request. And that would have been the, at least the one that made it to the capital.
No. It went to capital first. Capital requested it go to opera.
This is the same one that capital got.
Yes.
Got it. Because I think we were also looking at another figure of 300,000 at some point.
That's the combined with the 25.
Oh,
plus
got
the-
it.
yeah.
That's right. And we did take a look at that. Yeah.
So what is the total for this project? Sorry. Through the
With,
chair.
with that 300,
Yeah, with this 250 and.
it'll be
What
just
do we
under 3
run?
million. Which isn't bad considering Auburn's looking at a new public safety building at $78 million, so.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
We're hopeful, though, when we go out to bid for this, Mr. Chair, that if I can,
Go ahead.
that we'll have more than one bidder, because
We only had a single,
we only had one bidder the first time, so if there's multiple bidders, that hopefully we will receive and we'll have a better idea of what the cost will be.
With the final.
Yeah, because I almost had a heart
Numbers
attack when I
out.
opened up that sealed bid, so.
But again, 75 million, 3 million, a huge gap.
I'm looking at the capital request. Yeah, it's only slightly material to our discussion now. It's basically, capital made the recommendation to satisfy that. I know the final report, they had recommended 75, and I think that was based on some cost sharing.
275.
Where was the 200 coming from? Yeah, I think that was, I'm looking at it now and, that. I don't think we might have reversed it. There was already 75,000 still coming from another source. We might, the capital improvements may have reversed it and not put 225.
Because I know we discussed it here.
Absolutely.
Because it was
I-
originally
I'm
thought that I was
surprised, yeah.
requesting 300.
Yeah,
And I said, no, 275, we got 25 in the other account.
right. Yeah. I guess just as the then rep on the capital improvement, I guess the point I wanted to make was this should be slam dunk for us because we've already considered it and said, yes, this is a validated requirement and let's fund this with ARPA. I'm looking at the report. I wouldn't want to get called out by Jeff next month that I mistakenly quoted the wrong number. No smile on the back. I don't remember that one. That was the only point I had to make was that the capital had previously suggested this as an ARPA project. Then I would endorse that. Just the final report doesn't match with the number. But this is correct. Do I have to explain that again at all? Does everyone understand that? Okay.
Are we asking questions now?
No, you can ask questions.
Oh, I was just curious, you used the word hope it works. Is that gonna be enough money? Like, you know how we have 10 Pleasant Street and that kind of got.
Terry, this is municipal government. And being that it takes so long to have anything take place and get done, who knows what the bid's gonna come back as?
Hmm,
So
we have
we're
any-
going off of what our last bid was,
mhm.
and we met that with the 275, and then we've got 25,000 over here just in case. So fingers crossed.
Mhm.
We won't know until we open the sealed bids through the chair. I'm pretty confident based on the bid not too long ago that I think
We're in the
Well,
ballpark.
we're in the ballpark. Should do it.
And where it's such an old building and it had so many renovations made to it, do you think there's just gonna,
No, it's just one renovation.
well, I mean, is this gonna be a glitch? Or are we gonna be able to get this working and up and
Well, Julie, you're a little,
once you get.
it's an old building, but everything was gutted. Everything.
That's what I mean.
is
It
new.
was so redone and everything. So this is gonna be able to
It's
fit in with
realistic.
everything that's.
It's
You
realistic.
kind of built around getting that HVAC as one of your final items, and then that building should be solid, correct?
Yes,
That's what I'm asking.
yes.
Right.
Cause I know you went down pretty much those
Yeah.
sides
The-
and rebuilt.
The
it.
only thing besides the HVAC that
Mhm.
has to be fixed after that, which is a minimal cost compared to the HVAC,
Uh-huh.
is repairing the first floor.
Okay,
Because the humidity from the HVAC damaged the whole upstairs floor.
because, right, because of the incident with the old, okay.
Certainly improve morale getting it done. Oh,
It's not comfortable in the building
yeah,
at times.
yeah.
I'll say that.
Is there any,
Questions from?
is any other backup plan? I mean, is there any alternative to that? That's it. Huh.
It has to be fixed. That's the only thing.
Exactly, but
You know, in the use of ARPA funds, you know, for
Great.
public safety.
great.
We have not, I don't think we moved on anything else. We had a lot of churn because of town meeting and funding different projects with different sources. So, you know, I pulled up the spreadsheet, to kind of track all of the different capital requests that we have out there. So we're still 1.8 with ARPA, and this is a required thing for our public, you know, our public safety, our police department. So I'd advocate for this use. So
Oh,
we can
absolutely, I
help them out.
support it, yeah.
Yeah,
So
The only
you want to get a motion out there?
Well, I was gonna say one real quick question through due to the town administrator is that is there any concern of with the money coming for the South Street or for the Main Street Bridge that by using the ARPA funds that we're gonna be in trouble there? Or are we still confident that the Main Street Bridge money is gonna be coming from the state?
Good question. What we have right now, we have 1.8 million uncommitted roughly of ARPA. Which quite frankly, I just got the number from the engineer. I was talking with the Main Street Bridge project. You know, we're looking over $3 million, so we're not gonna have enough in ARPA anyways. So the advisory, some members of the advisory committee met with Representative Slotnick. I've had discussions with him as well. We're hopeful that we'll receive the 3 million in funding on the Main Street Bridge project over the summer. That's critical, and whatever else over that 3 million we may need. We could use ARPA, that way we don't have to go out for the water debt authorization.
Right.
Which the water department.
If it were voted in, correct?
Well, if the governor signs up on the 3 million.
Yep.
We would have enough. The key is that $3 million. I can't stress it, that gets signed off by the governor. Because even if it doesn't, in the predicament we're in now,
Yeah,
we
the
still
ARPA
wouldn't
funds
have
not
enough.
Right, yeah, the ARPA's not enough anyway.
I mean, we would probably have to look at a debt exclusion or something like that.
That's what I'm.
I would prefer not to use the ARPA funds for those kind of large capital projects, not for what the intended use was for. I know that they didn't give us a lot of constrictions, and that's been great for us. What's not been great is that we've stagnated in our spending of it.
We're
and
sitting on it.
We cannot, we need, I'm glad that the chief is here getting this project moving. Gail was talking about the kitchen, which was a recommendation by the capital improvements to get the kitchen moving. I I don't disagree with Adam. I know where he needs to be able to have that flexibility to say. For something that large that you have to commit, you go big or go home with the bridge projects, but at the same time, I want to be able to maintain some kind of maneuver space for what, you know, the littler things that we need.
Don't get your DPW needs as well.
Oh, I haven't.
Shameless self-promotion.
You can go visit him in his, in the H.
You've got a lot of. Yeah, he got a lot of town meeting. He didn't get too much. You gotta- Wow.
It was strictly just a clarification question. Thank you. I brought it on. Yeah.
You want, should we get a motion out there?
Yes, sir.
I don't mean to stop the language, but if we want to get a motion so we can get a direction.
I move to approve the ARPA HVAC request by Chief Mike Bennett.
I have a motion
Second that
and
motion.
I have a second. Any further discussion on the HVAC request by the police department? for
We need
use
to
of ARPA?
We need to put the number in to be specific.
No, just said
I-
for his
Yeah,
request,
as presented.
Okay.
as presented. Need to throw that number out again.
Once we start getting bids and stuff like that, we start talking contingency, that's where I think we can finalize some numbers and otherwise, but right now. We don't, that ceiling of 1.8 is so high, I'm not worried about like trying to get them down to the nickel.
Got it? Me, either.
Thousands or something dollars.
I agree.
Any other questions, comments?
Just one question through you to the chief. Chief, the HVAC system was new when the building was renovated, correct?
Brand new.
Yes.
Okay, and we have no warranty whatsoever on that equipment?
Well,
I'm just, it's a general question.
we battled with the engineer
Uh-huh.
and the design engineer. It was pointed out at the start of the project that the HVAC system was going to be faulty. They chose to go forward with it anyhow. Town council,
Chief, if I could jump
Yes.
in for a second, I just want to be cautious what we say because we were in executive session over this. So just
Oh.
be very general.
There is,
there were concerns about it.
Lots of discussion about, and we had decisions to make, to basically get somewhere with that contract.
There were concerns with the design and it went forward anyhow.
We took as I recall, we took a lesser of an evil option.
Yes.
And just a point of order to the TA's comment, we cleared a number of executive sessions, and I believe this was one of them.
Okay.
But I would have to go back and look at my notes as well.
Okay. Anything further on the HVAC ARPA request? Out in the gallery? Good. Okay. I'm gonna put this to a vote on the motion to approve the ARPA HVAC request by Chief Bennett. How would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Reluctantly, yes.
And
Yeah,
I am
it's
a
not
yes as
done.
well.
Do it reluctant.
Then that one.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Well spent.
Congrats. We'll hopefully, I won't say that too soon. I'm knocking on wood for you. Me too. Yep. All right, moving on to the next. I know we've got some people here tonight. Discussion related to Brooks Village speed limit posting.
I would rather concede the floor to the residents.
I was gonna
And-
ask, so Dave, if, because this action really, was generated by your email, if you would like to come up and make a presentation. You don't have to read the whole thing, but yeah.
I guess my first question is, did everybody had an opportunity to take a look at the transcript that was produced on behalf of the residents? of
Yes.
Brooks Village? And it was all precipitated by the fact that just recently speed limit had been posted in Brooks Village, on Brooks Village Road, in a couple of locations. And the residents concerned, not to go into it. I mean, you all had an opportunity to read it. It's well detailed. Had exhibits, article, referring to the text itself. The concern is the excessive speed limit that's attributed to posting. Now, and I'll go into a couple of things in regards to the state. State classified in certain roads for certain speed limits, and it was, I had a little discussion with the chief, so I got a little education on that particular situation, but did some research on my own, as well as looking at what how these roads are classified. Now, Brooks Village Road is basically a rural one lane. I think it averages anywhere from 18 to 20 feet max width. And the Brooks Village Road is lined, and if anybody knows, been up and down, it's lined with the residential houses. The roadways are not only for vehicular traffic, such as, cars, trucks, that sort of thing, but it's also with horses, people walking horses, chicketing ponies up the road, mothers with baby carriage, a lot of young folk in the area. So there is a commingling of traffic that's associated with the roads. With a posted speed limit of 40 miles an hour in that 5-way intersection with a road, like as I indicated, you're talking about 18, 20 feet wide. You could say it's ludicrous. It's insane to have it. I challenge it. I grew up there. I was in 1955. The road hasn't gotten any wider since when I was there as a kid, when crawling around. So with all that aspect there, and now put a 40 mile an hour speed limit on that road. That's like the new 50 when it comes to speed limits. Now, I challenge anybody to even go down through Brooks Village in excess of 25 miles an hour, especially in that area. And you got blind hills and curves. You've already had, as you can see through the exhibit I showed you, we've had a car flipped over on the property like a turtle on its back. So between all the pedestrian traffic, dog walking, and so on and so forth, mixed with traffic. Now, since Market Basket's opened up, it's a good cutaway to get to Market Basket, off the Patriots Road. You do a lot of traffic. And then, of course, about 20 years ago, they repaved the road, which made it kind of nice. But it also made it nice for higher speeds.
Yep.
So talking with the chief, he indicated that there was some the classification. I look back on the classifications on the road, just for the folks here, maybe folks out that way. There's 4 classifications. There's residential roads, which are set, the state sets it at 30. Now, my discussions with chief indicated that there had to be a special process by the select board to want to reduce it down into what they call a thickly settled area. I looked up thickly settled. Does Brooks Village fall into that? Well, maybe not to the letter of the law, being 200 feet away from houses off each other, but from a standpoint of thickly settled residents, you can interpret it whatever which way you want. So you've got 4 classifications: residential roads, which are set at 30. You have undivided highways set at 40. Well, Brooks Village Road is not anywhere near an undivided highway. I mean, it's a single lane country road. Much, you have divided highways that are set at 50 miles an hour, and then you have rural freeways at 65 miles. So those are the 4 main categories that I was able to discover. The questions that I brought up in the transcript in their petition to have that speed limit reduced, hopefully could get reduced to 25 miles an hour, especially in the 5-way intersection down there where you get the blind curves and stuff. And then, maybe you pick it up 30 going down that hill, but
Excuse me, can I ask you a question? Is that?
So-
I'm here for the same reason.
Yeah.
And I'm.
Man,
wait-
could you,
I'm
your
sorry.
name and, yep.
Want me to wait?
No. If you're gonna comment, I just wanted, like, if you,
Oh,
can-
who I
your
am.
name, yeah.
My name is Laura Lapicot.
Okay.
On 29 Brooks Village Road.
Okay.
And I'm here as well. My name is Sue too. The track.
Right, it's like a coalition, so if they wanted you
Oh, okay.
to add something in, I have no problem with that. I just want to make sure that everyone gets identified.
Okay, so the problem that we have, which is different than this, my name is Susan McCormick. I live at 25 Brooks Village Road,
Okay.
which is at the very bottom. The problem I'm having is if they're coming down the road doing 40, you're talking tractor trailers, 18 wheelers. We can't pull into our driveways because the guy in back of us gets mad. He can't back out of our driveways. to get into our driveways because they won't let us in. And I was told, because I don't know who the DPW is or something, many times I have gone to talk to them and they throw me back to the police department. I went to the police department and they told me that I need to stand out in the front of the yard and take down license plates. I'm 66 years old. I am not gonna take down anybody's license plate and have them come back on me. I have a child at my house. There are 11 kids at the bottom of the hill and they're flying up and down the hill. Now we've got doom buggies. Well, how many doom buggies were there that night? 20 doom buggies rolling up and down the road.
We had private trucks blocking the road.
Yeah.
And we had dump trucks that were the private dump trucks. And you can hardly get by. And as I was saying, when you're coming down the hill, my house is right there. And I have a granddaughter that when I first bought the house was afraid. She said, is a car gonna come in through the window? I mean, it's
And we did have an accident down there. Somebody came rolling down the hill last summer and hit the pole right out in front of my house. And the police did come, took him away in an ambulance, and he was flying down the hill, and there was an accident right out in front of the house. And, it's not fair. The houses where he lives and up over the hill, they're off the road. We're right on the road down at the bottom of the hill, right on the road.
and it's more narrow there too.
And when you have an 18-wheeler flying down at 50 miles an hour and somebody coming up the road, someone's gonna get killed down there. Especially the kids with the doom buggies and the dirt bikes, because they go right up the middle of the road and the trucks come right down the middle of the road. Someone's gonna get killed. So I'll let them go on, but we're at the very bottom, so our situation is a lot different than the hill. Because the hill up there is flat like peas, but we're at the bottom of 2 hills. And that's where they come flying up and down the road. And like I said, I'm not gonna stand out in front of my house and take down license plates. It's not my job.
She makes a great point, and
Yeah,
that's part of the whole.
Ultimately, is like how everyone kind of feeds up, like I want to know what you want to do based on. Right, because what they did was a great job of giving me some testimonial. I feel like the guy in Wizard of Oz, a testimonial. So as you provide, come up through, make that clear so Dave can make a recommendation. Then I want Adam to get a point, and then the chief and Bob.
Presence on Brooksville Road.
The road that he's on is 30 or 35 miles an hour and it's divided.
Yeah, I want to focus, let's stick with you, because I live on Hubbardson Road and I've got people going 70. So I mean, we can do the whatabouts. I don't want to do that. I want to take care of you.
I was told you can't say they were doing 70 because, I didn't have a clock sign.
Oh, I got eyes,
I'm telling
right,
you,
I got eyes.
They're doing 70,
Yep.
80 miles an hour, especially the
Can't-
dual buggies and the motorcycles.
Thank you. Candace, go ahead.
Well, where they are on the bottom.
Candace Graves, go ahead.
Candace Graves, 90 Cleveland Road, where
Thanks.
they are on the bottom, when you're coming in from the cemetery, so they're right there at the bottom, so if you have that, you can, the both ways, you can come in this way, or you can come in this way, so that makes that area where their houses are narrower than most of the road when you come up. So it is true, it's because, and everybody rides in the middle of the road when they come down Brooks Village Road. They don't go to the right, they don't go to the left. The people drive in the middle of the road. So when they drop now, because it's posted at 40, people didn't know they could go that fast.
I live
Are going that fast.
3 houses up and she lives 4.
Who were speeding or
Point of
speeding
order, Mr.
fast.
Chairman.
than
We come in,
Point of order, go ahead,
I'm just, I'm
that.
gonna,
It is,
please.
I want to appreciate everyone's concerns with this. But we've been asked to take on a discussion in regard to what is currently posted as your speed limit. So now that we have a lot of intake from everyone, and trust me, I've been on that side of this table in regards to a road issue and speeding and pothole issue. I've been there and I was as passionate as everyone else is. I just want to keep our focus
Got it.
on the speed limit, which is being presented currently to this board. There's nothing I can do about a tractor trailer. There's nothing I can do about a 4-wheeler running down the middle of the road. I can't vote yay or nay on any of that. So I just want to make sure we stay
Because it's
focused. I
more of a,
appreciate
it's a
that.
bigger problem. So Dave.
It's a
if you
bigger
could-
problem.
if You could bring it home for everybody.
Right. So we, as you saw in the transcript, we talked about some inconsistencies regarding the posting of speed limits.
Right.
Again, the 40 mile an hour speed limit, which extends all the way downtown, all the way Brooksville Road, down below, so on and so forth. That's a concern. So when we start talking about the inconsistency of posting speed limits, you saw the referrals to the Ballinville Road. That is a marked divided highway with breakdown lanes and sidewalks. And what's the posting there? 30 miles an hour. Okay, and it's a much wider. Anyway, getting back to it, the problem is it's a narrow road going up through there.
Right.
As the folks pointed out here, they're driving down the middle because it's a single lane country road. Okay, there's no breakdown, people walk. So those are the concerns that we have. Those are the safety concerns we have. So what we want is now I referred to in the transcript about, well, how did this come about? Well, was it a traffic engineer? Was this put out in front and had that worked out to come up with that'd be a great idea, 40 miles an hour in that area. So there's the procedure, the policy, and so on and so forth. What the folks up there want, and speed has been a terrible thing up there. We've had numerous accidents. I pointed out a couple here tonight, as well as in the transcript, is to get that speed reduced down, especially in those thickly settled areas. Now, whether it's defined under that or not, you can get technical about the semantics about thickly settled areas. And to make sure that folks, we can come back and say, hey, in these areas, 25, down the hill, 30, 25 and thickly settled at the base of the hill where we got kids and so on and so forth, and co-managed traffic. That's really where we're at. We need to readdress at 40 mile an hour. That's like,
Got it.
it's anyway, that's it. That's full.
Thank you, Dave. So between Adam, the chief, and DPW director, do you all want to speak on this? Or
Actually, there's no need for DPW and there's no need for Adam.
Well, I was just gonna say, I talked to the chief about the proposed solution and he has,
Okay.
if we could just have him come up, I
Yeah,
think
please,
that
chief.
will appease their
Thanks, Dave.
residents.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciated your paperwork on that as well. It was very detailed, so thank you. I read
Well,
the
one-
entire.
I'll say one other thing too. I have
10 seconds.
extended appreciation for what you people do and serve this community on this board. I've worked with government. I've been involved with government. I've been involved with other businesses. Fabulous work that you do. Thank you very much on that.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you for the recognition.
Appreciate your time.
So I kind of dealing with this as far as a discussion. I want to hear what the problem was, which was done very well. I want to hear some of the solution stuff before we go have any other discussion.
Okay.
Can we do that? Or
Okay, so. Mr. Pease was kind of right, kind of not right. Commonwealth of Massachusetts is governed by Chapter 9017. That dictates the motor vehicle speed on every single road within the Commonwealth. There are 4 speed limits in the Commonwealth. There's an undivided highway, which is Patriots Road 2A.
Mhm.
That can have a maximum speed of 50. All other roads in the Commonwealth are 40. Unless they are considered thickly settled, which is a 30. That is considered 200 feet or less, which is 70 yards apart on both sides of the road continuously for over a quarter of a mile. After that, there's a 20 business district. That's the law. That's not up to me. That's not up to you. That's not up to Adam. That's governed by the Commonwealth. We cannot change it arbitrarily. 9018 is special regulation speed limits, posted speed limits. Now, if we want to change the speed limit on Brooks Village Road, we have to jump through the hoop of 6 different categories, which I sent an email to Mr. Talk, which explained the whole process of a traffic count. There was all 6 different things. Then we send it off to the Mass DOT. Mass DOT reviews it. And Mass DOT, 50% of the time, either agrees with you or denies the request. My recommendation for resolving this problem, it's not going to get done tonight. I'm sorry, it can't. Is that the town at the fall meeting votes to adopt Chapter
90, section 17C, which the town has not done. That allows the town to make a special thickly settled area of 25 miles per hour. Once we voted at the town floor that we accept it, we notify the state, Mass DOT, they give us the blessing. We do it as a road specific. We do not have to say townwide, because I wouldn't recommend that, but road specific, and every time that we change a speed limit on a road to the 25, especially thickly settled, we have to notify the state. That's my recommendation going forward.
Okay.
There is no other way to resolve this. That's the law. When Mr. Pease mentions Baldenville Road. Who did Baldenville Road?
State.
Mass DOT did it. It was
Mass
it was a
DOT
state
did it.
project. They came out, they did a traffic study, they did an accident study, they posted the speed limit. That's why it's posted the way it is. Okay. I'm gonna wait because now I've got both pieces of information. I want to allow for some board member comments. Terry's been waiting very patiently. Terry, do you have?
Well, I like his suggestion for fall town meeting, and that road is poorly drained. The drainage on that road
Speed.
is,
Yeah, I know. We're
yeah,
talking about speed right now.
but
I got.
it complicates
Gilligan's
the
Island and
speed.
everything. I got lots
It
of stuff to deal with.
complicates the speed when you have big hunks of ice.
Okay. And I would also
Dangerous.
recommend on that is that being that the signs are up causing this issue, it doesn't hurt us. I would recommend that we have DPW take down the signs until for the fall town meeting.
Oh, I love it.
What kind of direction do you need for that? I just need you, I don't need any direction. We just take the signs down. Yeah, well.
So you don't need our permission.
Is that preferable?
Just
Not to
don't
take
put
the
them on
signs
very
down?
high.
Okay, just clarifying that.
Let me keep the control because it does, a conversation like this has the potential for going on for, really eating up the meeting. So we sound like we're getting someplace here. I just want to be, we've got some long-term and some short-term things that have been recommended. I'll give you a chance in a second. I want to let the board have any questions. So I hear some short-term recommendations that sounds like you just need some consensus on. Some long-term things that are going to take the community's effort to do if it's going to go to town meeting to adopt 9017C. Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions before I open up for some final thoughts? And that's for the entire board. Dave, you can have one of the first final thoughts.
Yeah, there's 3 little points here, and I go back to the South Road. How did the South Road get classified at 30 miles an hour? Obviously, 30 miles an hour. Anyway, those are 2 other issues, and I don't think the state was involved in those. But those are things that need to probably be looked into. Why
Those were actually posted before my time. I'm sorry. If I'm gonna post the road, I'm gonna post it legally.
Yeah, no, I
So-
totally agree. That's not, my point was how did those roads get 30 and that type of, anyway. And the other thing was the effort that the folks put on their own. They've actually mounted their own signs, which was
Yeah.
But getting back, one of the great things is that indicator, the flashing one, that's a great
Deterrent.
deterrent.
Mm.
If we had one, we had one down below, folks coming in up to. Let's flash. In other words, it's like we posted an officer with a radar, but it's this way here. I think it's more effective by that light flashing and just automatically get on the binders. So anyway.
Any other final comments, Gail? I'm sorry, can you go first?
Glenn Radigan.
Yep. Hi,
Glenn
Glenn.
Radigan, 50
Yep.
Brooks Village Road. I operate a grapple permit off of that property. Several large pieces of equipment exit and enter that area. And all of a sudden I come out one morning, it's 40 miles per hour. I've tested it with my truck pickup. Going that speed, I found was ridiculous. You wouldn't not even be able to make an emergency stop and one of the trucks is exiting the property. So to me, 40 miles per hour, it's like the new 50. I mean, look at Route 2, 55. Who does 55? I just think it, it should be 30, should be 30. And I always thought it
Or
was,
even less if it sounds
or
like
even
you
less, right?
adopt 90.
Because I own 1,100 feet on that road up to Kuhl's. And across from me is about the same stretch where there isn't any houses. And after that, it's just driveway after driveway after driveway, all the way up the hill.
Thanks, Glenn.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. And I know people have to slow down, just all across town. Everyone's got a complaint. We've got a lot of different complaints that come in. And I don't know how many complaints you wind up getting, chief, for speed and otherwise. Roads are feeling pretty good. I know we've got a lot of road projects and I forget who made the point earlier that when you smooth out a road and you have some movement on that South Road. Yeah, I mean, South Road is all done now. It's difficult, but people got to slow down. I'm not advocating for you to be out in your front yard kicking down, but you have to pick up the phone and make a call, not get frustrated, because tonight sounds like we're making some progress moving forward. Like Chief Bennett said, we're not going to solve this with one vote, but anything final before we move? Go ahead, Jeff.
Just one quick thing as a reference, the concern with speed and stuff. April 2nd of this year, they made a bunch of changes to 9018. And some of them are, you have to give 4 feet of space for bicyclists, push scooter, pedestrians, anything normal, that's on that side of the road. You gotta move over 4 feet, give them 4 feet of space. And they changed some of the thing about the speed limits and the process, and I think there's a vote by a board of selectmen to request Mass DOT to certify whatever speed you want to put in there. So the 40 miles an hour, and you got to move over to give that, to follow the law, 4 feet. It's a person, a bicycle, a push scooter, a skateboarder, whatever. And a lot of these roads, you move over 4 feet, you're on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
So just something to add when we want to change the,
It's not.
make the case for that. And that's all roads in the state.
Thanks, Jeff. 97, you said 9017 C.
Mr. Chair.
A targeted effort, correct? It's not broad. It's targeted.
It's street specific.
Got it.
We could make it townwide, but I don't recommend that.
Right. Understood.
Mr. Chair, do we need to make a motion to enable it to get on the?
Just
fall
consensus
town?
for the warrant.
No, we're not even close yet. I think that side of the room in terms of preparing warrant articles and everything, we'll get there. I think just consensus to take down signs is I think what we need to talk about tonight. If I see north-south head nods from the Assembled Brooks Village Road people, then I would advocate for that. And I have consent. I mean, I'm a part of consensus. How are you feeling?
I'm
taking
part
this.
of consensus. I mean, obviously, we need to take into account what we're receiving from our department heads.
Yeah.
And we need to
Yeah,
really
100%.
consider supporting that 100%. You know what? Somebody put up a sign because somebody probably said, we're not posted over here. Can you post? You posted.
The problem is
Look,
that's exactly what happened.
Let's pull the signs back down, and in the interim, now you're suggesting that this board somehow bring it to a town meeting, which I think is perfect.
Yep.
In
The
my
complaint
opinion.
was made that it needed speed limit signs
Yeah.
because they were going too fast.
Then
I
you-
knew once I posted it, it was gonna be even
Okay,
worse,
good.
but I was gonna post it legally.
Yep.
And then go from there.
A no one wins situation in this respect.
So can I ask, for the people that assembled, that spoke on it, Dave, do you feel good being like a point person for this discussion? If we needed help or as liaison for the discussion? Okay. And I think we can work towards, an article.
I just have one question. I'm glad you're gonna pull the signs down, but my problem is people are gonna be confused by thinking it's okay that the signs were there that they could do 40, and then you're gonna take them
That's a
down.
greater, ma'am, I think that's a greater problem. You, like Julie brought up a point of order to talk about all of the additional stuff.
Speed limit signs are what we're discussing.
We could go on for another
Great.
hour about
We don't
why
want to
people,
discuss it. We can't change it tonight. I agree with the chief of police in town.
No, I want it down.
That,
Yeah.
I agree with him that we could go into a town meeting vote and probably get that changed. And then we'd be able to go thickly settled in certain specific roads, which is,
All right.
sounds like you need in the end.
all right, thanks, Julie. I need some order here. One more comment and we're gonna get you the consensus that you need, and then we're gonna move on as a discussion. Go ahead, your final thought.
Yeah, so in the area where there are lots of children, can you put in, when you take down the sign, can you put up one that says go children slow?
Yeah.
We love our children.
I thought of that, yes, oh, true.
I don't know the legal answer to that. I don't know if.
We have put those signs up.
Yeah,
There is one in front of my house.
okay,
There's one on my street as well. I don't know where we got them.
right.
Are they in storage?
Let's move forward with what we've got forward rather than throwing up a whole suite of new signs, because I've got the rest of the town that is gonna be watching this. And I really need to be able to kind of pare it down. It makes sense the way that Dave brought the discussion for it. And I get that the way that it got here and everyone was doing what they thought was right for this piece. Let's walk it back. Let's do it the right way. Is everyone happy moving forward? And I really mean the board consensus wise for signs coming down.
Burn them, fish fry them, do what you
Oh,
want to
God.
do.
I just think it's a shame that we even have to have this conversation. The people that are driving, that went through getting a driver's license should know that you don't go that fast down the road. I just, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Amen.
It's everywhere around town. I see the squigglies in the road
know.
on
Amen.
every single road I go on. It's a shame.
So you're always welcome to come to the board, send us an email or otherwise, but I appreciate Dave taking the lead to be able to provide you any updates of what's going on and as we form the near-term plan and the long-term plan culminating at fall town meeting. All right, let's,
Mr. Chair, if I may.
the final thought.
Clarify things with the residents. Any speed limit signs is through the police chief by law.
That is good.
If he approves it, he reaches out to my department. We order them to install. Any speed sign that's yellow with black on it, then a legal sign. Every other sign in town, me and the chief will talk about what we want to put out and agree upon the location. So if it's speed limit signs, call the police department. If it's a warning sign, yield sign, stop sign, call the highway department.
Okay, we didn't know. I figured highway.
right.
road.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've made some progress here tonight. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Thank you for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, chief.
Thank you. We don't need a motion.
No. All right, we are moving on to item K. We're getting ever so closer to item Sierra.
Okay.
Action related to Beaver Brook Small Bridge Grant.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Sozik's gonna come up
Okay.
here, but I think this one should be, he's just gonna brief you, and I think we'll move to the next item.
How you doing, board? Good evening.
Hi, Bob.
Bob Summers, Director of Public Services. Ty and Bond sent an email out, which I forwarded to Adam, in discussion of this culvert bridge. Which supposedly part of it's in Templeton, the other part's in Phillipston, the other, there's more, and, say it's all in Phillipston, and then there's say that a bridge going from town to town is usually a joint effort. I've been reaching out, talking to other directors. Nobody's heard such a thing. I recommend that we take no action tonight until we get more information. And this project's well over a year out.
All right, thanks, Bob. On the action related to Beaver Brook Small Bridge Grant, I would recommend a motion to postpone until such time as the DPW and the TA bring it back to the agenda.
I so move. Second.
Okay, I have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Thank you for the background emails in there. That was very good to.
Great information.
Yeah, to kind of give the background and what the considerations were, especially the monetary. Should that get fleshed out in terms of a cost share. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none on the motion to postpone Beaver Brook Small Bridge Grant. How do you vote? Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes,
Julie? Oh, she stepped out. Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes. I guess you can just mark, Julie absent, or I can.
Just out of chair.
I'm just trying to move forward. I said, the beginning of the meeting, or I intended to say at the beginning of the meeting. We're actually not doing so badly for 2 hours in. We've got a lot accomplished, but if we move too fast, or if we think that we need to postpone something, then please, slow me down or otherwise. I thought she had walked back, or else I would have waited to make that motion, but it's unanimous otherwise, so. All right, moving along. We are at action related to senior center donations. You've got those in your packet. And I
Sure.
believe we can go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the senior center donations in the amounts of $25, $75. And looks like another 25 and another 50, so $175 total.
no, I'm up to 270.
The correction, the second letter. there's a
279.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the 100.
175.
Yep, 275 total. My apologies.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Move second.
Yes, 275 total.
Carrie is the second.
Yep.
Do you want to acknowledge on behalf of,
First and second.
do we want to
I
acknowledge?
think,
Of course, yeah, if you'd like to do it.
acknowledge on behalf of,
So
Okay.
Urbane and Gloria LeBlanc, $25 in memory of Joseph Gogan.
Gagan.
Gate,
Gogan.
Gogan?
Gagan.
Gogan,
Okay.
I thought, yeah, I say that Gogan is the way that I remember it.
Gogan.
Maybe I'm wrong. Wouldn't be
Um,
the first time.
Same thing for Elva Hawkins, $100 in memory of Joseph Gogan and Mary Ellen and Michael Gilbert. $75 in memory of Joseph Gogan. William and Linda Thompson, $25 in memory of Joseph Gogan. John and Doris Brooks, $50. But it doesn't have any memory. This is $50. Thank you to those people.
Yep. We have a motion in a second. Thank you for that further clarification on the donations, Terry. Appreciate that.
Bill, did you know Joseph Gogan?
Okay. On the senior center donation motion, how would you vote now?
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Well, he was 92. 92, he passed away on May 2nd.
Just kind of pausing.
Yeah, I like it.
Is she in the hallway? I didn't want to go like one or two, but to go over another one.
92.
92. Is it Beatles song? Oh, 60.
Why not? Yeah, when I'm 64.
Yeah.
Mm.
Really still cute.
Just kind of pausing a little bit, give her a little bit of time to get back. How many have we done? 2 while she's been absent? All right,
Here we go.
that's good. Glad I waited. All right, our next item is action related to open meeting law complaints. And those are open meeting law complaints of our April 26th meeting in our May 10th meeting. They have been filed. They went through the town clerk. So part of our process is to come up with the answer that goes along with the complaint. Some of the actions that were or some of the items, we actually took care of some of those items that were highlighted in terms of additional documents. We've made some amendments to our meeting minutes. Otherwise, I would just like to move along with some of the draft items that we have. So I would make a motion to allow town council to respond to the open meeting law complaints.
Second,
Okay, motion in a second. Any further discussion? Any clarification of them? Basically, the complaints come in. We take a look at the heavily used town council to take a look at them. Some of the content of them we have seen before about agenda items, clarification of agenda items. So again, motions designed to have town council come up with a legally sufficient answer to these complaints.
Yeah, we didn't see these for a while.
What's that?
We didn't see these for a while, so.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none on the motion to allow town council to respond to the open meeting law complaints, how would you vote? Matt,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Julie,
absolutely, yes.
Tim? Yes. And I vote yes as well. Okay, item N as in November, discussion related to recycling policy and development services. You have a in our packet, we've got past executive resolutions and the memo came from development services.
The memorandums from me to the departments,
Okay.
boards and committees.
Mhm.
This is really to encourage us getting products containing recycled materials. This was I guess done a while back by the select board at that time.
97.
Yeah, glad. to
Yeah,
see
it was
you.
actually Lori brought this down, and I think it's important that we continue doing that.
I do too.
Is there, Adam, from your perspective, whether you can speak in depth on it or not, is this based on any kind of observations that we haven't been doing our due diligence buying recycled products, or it's a good reminder at this point?
Well, it's a good reminder at this point. I think we do a pretty good job of going through, checking all these, and Lori's department certainly works hard. But there's times where, like with certain trainings that we have to send out reminders, whether they be yearly and the like. So with this, this was passed quite a while ago, and I think it's important that we encourage the recycling to continue in the town. Recycling is important.
Adam, what might you need from the board? You just want to
Well, I wanted the board to be aware of
Endorsement.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, just because, it's because it's coming from me, but also the select board's on there. So I think the public understanding as well, that when the board passed this a while ago, but it's to say 97, I believe in here,
Yep.
the effective date, that we're really want to put that out there, that we're a community that's very pro environment. And this goes way back to 97 too,
Mhm.
so I mean,
Yeah,
the
Fits
town's.
right in, yeah, that's how we know.
So would I look for the board if you had any other comments on it? Otherwise, we can just give them consensus that we endorse the actions of the board almost 30 years ago, and your continual approach to have the department heads ensure their purchasing of recycled material.
Plastic free. There's a movement, a global movement called Plastic Free July. Maybe not just recycled, but no plastic.
And I'm telling those a lot of recycling now, so.
Mm.
Probably not aware of a lot of, like, we do have recycled dumpsters.
Mhm.
We have the clothes drop off.
Mhm.
We have recycled barrels over to Gilman. Highway department recycle the batteries, turn them properly. All the metals, waste oils, get recycled. Paper.
Do you do that, or do we do that through Winchton?
No.
Waste oil?
metals.
Oh, you mean as a part of process for like your garage? Okay. I'm sorry, I went complete resident on you. I know that because of our agreement with Winchton, I went up and was able to do some waste oil transactions with it's all pay as you throw, unless you pay I think it's $70 a year to
Right.
their regular trash that you use their bags.
Yeah, waste oil, bring it to me, don't bring it over to.
Okay. Duly noted. Anything else? I think it looks like you've got consensus.
Consensus. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, we are up to item O, action related to CPC grant agreement with the Narragansett Historical Society. Adam, if you could just do a quick explanation.
These were, remember we did these not too long ago. This is standard for any of these organizations or the CPC that they get signed by the select board. Their new administrative assistant, Jess, put these together. I sent her the language we used before.
Yeah.
I thought she did a pretty good job with that.
Town meeting appropriation looks like that's why I thought this was in here, because now it's got appropriation authority.
And we just need to execute the agreement, so the board has to approve it, and then it'll be on there for signature.
Okay.
But this is for the Narragansett Historical Society, and then the next one's North County Land Trust.
Yeah, we'll take them one at a time, but I will definitely count your explanation for both. And I see they're very similar, and they've come before the board already. For inclusion into the warrant.
For the prior appropriation.
Yep.
Yeah, prior appropriation.
Are there any additional questions for items 5O or 5P? We will take the motion separately, but if you have any questions on process. Okay, hearing none, let's take 5O first. I'll entertain a motion to approve the CPC grant agreement with the Narragansett Historical Society.
So moved.
Second. Here's a motion in a second.
That also in for the board to sign. Because I viewed the last page has a signature line for all of us.
Okay. Amended to read and for the board to sign. Put on the second.
Yes.
Any further discussions on the grant agreement with Narragansett Historical Society and for the board to sign? Hearing nothing, how do you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim? Yeah. And I vote yes. And similarly, items 5P. Their motion to approve the CPC grant agreement with North County Land Trust and for the board to sign.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second going right this time. Any further discussions? Hearing none on the action to approve the CPC grant agreement with North County Land Trust and for the board to sign. How do you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. All right, item Q, action related to change orders for the senior center roof. Adam, if you could brief us on that one.
This one I had to come back to the board because for some reason, when the board first authorized the contract, it was 151,000, and then there was a execute such change orders of not to exceed 17,200, where if we kept that original motion back in August 10th of 2022, I would have been able to just sign them myself, but since we got amended to 15,100, I had to come back to the board with these. The architect followed up with me on these items for the reconstructing of the roof cricket. They had the continuous EPDM form flash and metal flashing at gutter elevations. And then the other one, remove and replace rotted wall sheathing and wood studs at the north side of entrance head house. I think we've been pretty fortunate with this project, considering that even with all the change orders, it came to be a 167,000 roughly of expenses. It's still much lower than the original bids of all the other ones outside of La Rochelle. So I think we were very fortunate. I think the architect was very happy with the way this project came together. It was very smooth. The only purchase change order I signed was number 1, but then these other 3 went over what I was authorized to sign. And at
It's
this,
over 15.
yeah, it went over. So just to be on the safe side, I figured I'll bring it back. But overall, I thought the project went quite well. The architect was surprised that, they didn't find anything that had to stop. And so the architect had it where all these change orders came in at the end of the project. So I'm just seeking your authorization in your motion. It should say change orders number 2, 3, 4 to be approved. And yeah, that project went quite well. I'm not sure through the chair, Mr. Sozik, if you want to say anything on the project. I thought it went
Well, like Adam said, the architect did have language in there for unforeseen stuff. Like Adam said, I think we lucked out tremendously as far as what we're expecting on the needs. Just a cricket up there, which is the peak that's tied in off the overhang. That was never secured properly to the main roof of the senior center, so it wasn't hurricane proof. So that was a big part of it, tying that in and securing it properly. Like he said, some rot and unforeseen elevation and stuff, but I think Templeton came out of it pretty good for what was there.
Okay. So I guess my technical question for you, are they, in your opinion, these change orders are required?
Yeah.
And so they go over the threshold that we allowed. Do you think we need to put another cap or just execute change orders as submitted?
I would say that would be sufficient, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
we're only over by 1,000.
It's only like $1,000 difference. I just was confused at why it was
I
changed.
just don't want to.
I don't understand why it was.
Orders, but not have, like, if these are reasonable and they're required, we can see what they are. If you thought that we needed to do another cap to be able to just control that, I would add that into an approval motion.
Actually,
I don't
that's-
think we need it. I think we can just approve them as submitted.
As submitted, I think you'd be okay.
That works for the original motion of August 10th, 2022. I'm not sure why it was changed, though. It was 17,200 at first, then it was the board changed.
I
it.
recall, I believe I was remote and, I think at the time, select board member Bennett might have brought up, it was, I think, I'd have to go back and look at the meeting, but I think he was basically looking at amounts adding up or otherwise, or it was a percentage.
Oh, they're looking at percentage? Okay.
Yeah, and therefore it didn't align with what was being briefed was a percentage, but the math didn't line up for that. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm not sure it's really salient at this point, it is what it is. If we changed it, we changed it.
Well,
But I'm just
that's
trying to
why I went
remember
back
why
and-
we did it, yeah.
I went back, double checked it, and then I was like, oh, I'm over here with these change orders, so I had to go back here, so.
But I agree, this is basically a procedural just to make sure that we're raising the ceiling.
The board approves it.
In effect, if we're approving the change orders, we're in effect raising, giving you the authorization to raise the ceiling.
Yeah, to sign. Thank you.
Do I have that right? Does everybody follow along, agree with that?
Yeah.
Just allowing the change orders?
And the architect also approved all these as well.
Yep. Adam had asked, he had a lot of, I'm asking Bob technical questions. I think if Andrew was here, would be able to give you the real technical answer.
He was ready to come too.
He was, but I waved him off and said, I think with Bob coming and, the detail that we had in the packet, I thought was sufficient for what we needed to vote for. Which was really not about ECOs, but ceiling. Any other questions on the change orders for the senior center roof? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion on the change orders.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I move to approve from La Rochelle Construction Incorporated change order proposals 2, 3, and 4 regarding the senior center roof and for the town administrator to sign.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Looking out there in the gallery.
How did I miss one?
One's already been signed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Adam was authorized, Adam had enough cap to sign the first one.
Oh,
That's the final three that are the problem.
Okay, I don't hear any further questions, so on the motion to approve the change orders for the senior center roof and for the town administrator to sign, how do you vote? Nat,
Yes.
Harry,
Yes.
Julie?
Through the chairman, I'd like to make a comment prior to my vote decision, if that's okay. A comment on this topic.
I'll just. Let me just rescind the,
You want me to go out as a
let me just
resident?
rescind the vote and we'll do another vote.
What was that?
I'm just gonna rescind the vote. You know, take back the vote. I'm just gonna do a revote to keep it clean.
Oh, so we can't like make.
No, I'm just gonna,
explain
I'm gonna take
vote.
away, I'm not
Oh,
taking
I
a
see.
motion away. I just, if you have further comment.
I just had a comment prior to my vote, that was all. So
Go
we
ahead.
can, okay, thank you. I just would like to comment that my vote will be because I've been following this particular project since 2014. And I just wanted to give an explanation. That is the reason. And if you want to look at back data on this particular project, on this particular town building, that will be my reasoning for my vote tonight. Just so that the public's aware of that. Thank
Okay.
you.
So just for a point for procedure, I called a point of order, that she still had comment, so I'm going, my point of order is to basically, renew the count for the vote. So on the, action related to approval of the change orders for the senior center roof and for the town administrator to sign, how would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Julie,
No,
Tim,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Please, report that was not unanimous. All right, two more on new business, action related to 10 Pleasant Street additional expense. Adam, or Bob, if you could brief that.
Good evening again.
Evening.
So I can do a little show and tell with you. You can ask questions later. I'll probably cover all most of your questions.
Thank you, sir.
In color.
Ooh.
Good.
And just as a,
Thank you, Bob.
Jackie and Holly, when we, in the minutes, if we could just make sure that we're capturing, yeah, please.
So 10 Pleasant Street, we're tearing down the house. On 6/7. I was notified of two problems. One, the first picture you see is a hand dug well, which was under the front porch. So I made a decision, we filled it in for liability to the town, where there's so many kids in that area. So that's filled in and sealed off, and we don't have to worry about it. So just keep that first picture in your mind towards the end. Then we come across, they found a 1,000-gallon underground storage tank, which was under the driveway, unforeseen, nobody, there's no vents, nothing. So it was about 3/4 exposed. I immediately notified the fire chief, which I want to thank tremendously for working together with me on this and real professional. Fire chief came over. We discussed an action plan. I reached out to Saybrook, which is a vendor of mine, who removes hazmat from the DPW. They sent a foreman out that day to assess. And the following day, they were planning to come out to pump and clean a tank. There was no, everything was contained that first day. one part of the tank had a little dampness to it. If you look on the end, that was one of the areas on the third picture. And on the fourth picture, there was a little bit as well. On the day they come to pump out the tank, they tipped the tank a little bit and a hole opened up on the bottom of the tank. Immediately released 300 plus or minus gallons of water oil. So that immediately had to call DEP. Fire chief notified DEP. DEP talked to the fire chief and myself. And DEP's wearing the boots at those time. We had to do exactly what DEP recommends in EPA. And I apologize if I sent an email, if anybody got offended, one person needed to take control, whether it was the select board, town administrator, myself, fire chief, whoever. It's just like a big incident in town, you command one person. So DP immediately said we need to take immediate action. And we needed a LPS with a licensed professional, licensed site professional. So I reached back out to Saybrook. And they found me one locally right out of Westminster. We contain most of the liquids into about 9 drums, which are still on site, which I will be signing the manifest tomorrow for removal. And that portion will be taken care of. The initial bill for cleaning the tank before we had any release was going to be $82.54.22. So that I already have that invoice. Additional cost is going to be for the LPS and disposal of the earth soil. So if you see the tank and just towards the street, that's where it basically sat. So we're able to secure the tank and get clearance from the EPA and DEP that it was stable enough for action on Monday morning. The LPS came out and I met with him, and the fire chief came out as well. I recommended if he cleared the tank because it was clean and opened up and considered salvage at that time, we moved that first. So the DPW did, we removed the tank to Templeton salvage with proper documentation. And we got a whopping $67 for it. And we started doing some soil testing and removal. As you can see, guys in the trench. The good news is very minimal at this point. He did take a lot of samples. And his little sniffer, I didn't hear nothing more than a 1.5. And anything under 10 is good. So with that being said, we excavated about 25 yards of soil, which he wanted to put on site, and I told him I would like to move it to my DPW where I am permitted to have contaminant soil there. Just for the reason being, if we get cleared, Associated Records can finish the job and not wait another month. So I do not have the bill from the LPS yet. The soil is getting tested to make sure there's nothing else hot, or they need to go any further. I should know that by towards the end of next week. You could expedite it for an extra cost, but I said we'll wait. So I'm waiting back to hear from the results on the soil samples, which he says I don't see that it's going to be much of a problem. An additional cost is going to be removing of the 25 yards, estimated about $50 a yard, going to Adams, hometown Chicopee to get burnt out. So you're looking probably about $1,300. And as you can see the tank where they cut it open where it's clean and it was considered salvage. In this last page, if you look, you'll see two brown rusty lines running in a trench where we're excavating. Nobody found them except for when we were digging the soil. So while the LPS was there, we dug towards the street and the lines went past the tank where it was, so I know it wasn't involved with that tank. So now I wanted to go home and puke because I instantly thought there was a second tank. There was 2.5 inch steel lines, a vent and a fill, because there was a garage down back. So we excavated to the end of the property line near the Verizon building. And thank God they dropped into a stone dry well with just an elbow, which must have been from that well out front, that first picture you saw. So invoices, like I said, I have the one for the initial cleanup of the tanks and the removal of the barrels. Additional costs, a rough estimate of $1,300 for the dirt.
What did you think the LSP was gonna be?
I'm not sure. It didn't sound like it's gonna be, I'm guessing it's probably gonna be 3,000 to 4,000. So I think, with all said and done and everything that was going on, I think we're gonna come out looking pretty good. For really low costs, for what could have been a very high cost. And like I said, tomorrow they're gonna pick up the barrels. And then gonna wait for the call. I go and sign the manifest and then I have to get copies and send that to the DEP and EPA. And once everything I've been sending to Adam, I did sign the soil and liquid release so they can move forward and arrange that, because all that has to be on Bill Layton's.
Yep.
Which I will have to sign and get to everybody as well, so.
Okay. Bob, thanks for the update. From an emergency procurement perspective, what do you need from the board tonight?
Yeah, I do want to thank Bob as well as the fire chief.
Absolutely.
They were down there and they very
Saybrook, they seem like they're lifesavers in terms of you being able to have the speed of action.
Yeah. And I did speak with the chair throughout this, so he was aware of the situation as well. So what I would need is basically authority from the board to approve expenses, all expenses associated with the underground tank.
What's the
From the demo revolving fund.
I would say possibly up to 15,000 when all said and done.
We have enough in the demo revolving fund to cover that.
We should be able to make it work once we still get the invoices. That's why I kind of have to have a blanket approval, because we don't have a total number as of this point. But I mean, a situation that could have been really bad, it actually turned out where they had control of the site. And I think you spent up there, how much time did you spend up there with the fire chief?
Oh, I got many hours, even on the weekend, last weekend. Last Friday, it wasn't a day off.
Then we also had the Massachusetts DEP and Department of Environmental Protection, as well as the licensed site professional there. When I stopped up there and saw all of you checking the soil and going through all the. So I do want to commend their work. They were very right there at the site, making sure, following up with DEP, doing everything by the book. So I think it's important to
recommend you and your team's work as well, Bob. I was as someone who was RCRA and DOT certified as well, that the work you had to go through to get that done correctly is not small. So well done.
It's all
well done to your team. Yeah. I know those manifests, those are fun.
That's a question. The company that did the initial inspection of the property. Is there any recourse you can go towards them for this initial cost, saying, hey, there was no oil tank in the basement? Why?
No, this wasn't in the basement. It was.
Right, I know
under
that, but initial inspection of a house with no oil tank, wouldn't that raise suspicion about, hey, How did they heat the home? There's no gas there,
Well, the hygienist that was involved was more involved with asbestos,
asbestos,
correct?
so the company wasn't looking. for the
And
material.
as far as I know, speaking with Lori Weed, our development services director, there's no records of this tank on file with us.
Yeah,
So-
normally the fire chief would have a permit
Right,
on
right, I
file.
understand that. I just didn't know what involvement the company had with hazardous materials.
I don't think you can't go after anybody. I think it's gonna be a lesson we learned in Templeton. If we get another building that we're gonna do several test holes. And get deeper into inspecting the properties and checking for permitted stuff that's unforeseen.
Well said.
Mm.
So you have a correction in place for the next time, basically, so that's great.
So for the board, again, if there's more questions, we can still take care of that, but I would move to have the DPW to continue to resolve the 10 Pleasant Street tank abatement and fund through existing revolving account
Thank you.
with town administrator oversight.
Second.
Okay, motion in a second.
That would include any and all expenses associated with the tank.
Correct.
Okay.
So what specific language to move to have the DPW continue to resolve the 10 Pleasant Street tank abatement and fund through existing revolving account. So it's to resolution.
Do we have do we have a cap on the dollar amount to spend? Because we don't know what the total dollar amount is right now.
Right.
We can't exceed what's in that account.
Correct. That's why I added the TA oversight.
Well, that's, if that's the situation, I don't think we're gonna get to that point, but if that was the case, I would have to use. We have to look at other budgets that what could. What it
I
could
think
amount.
you'll be safe with what you got.
But I'm pretty confident we'll be safe with what we got.
Go ahead.
I had just had a quick question on, can we consider ARPA funding for this?
We've got existing funds for it.
You guys are killing me. I need equipment.
If we have existing
I'm
funds.
just asking a question,
Yeah.
because it was an unforeseen bill,
Right, but you have the
but
money.
you have revolving account, but we don't have a cap on your funding that you're saying. Tell the town administrator to do it, and so if it affects not only our revolving funds. And then he dries out the revolving funds, we're going all over the place.
We're expecting.
I was just curious.
He's gonna
about that.
oversee that. We're not gonna let that happen.
Well, I'm just afraid you're gonna, like you said, you'll have to bring it back to you
Correct.
in order to get more funding from other resources. Well, we only
He would
have
do
so
that
many
for
funding
anything.
to go.
He would do that for any account.
Right,
Yeah, I always follow up with.
but we'll
the
be moving
motion.
around them.
And we project that we're
we
gonna be
just
safe,
got
so
passed.
we have to wait and see as the rest of the invoices come in.
It's just a thought.
I just have a comment.
Okay, so I had a motion. I'm not sure if it was seconded. Oh, that's right. Terry seconded.
Who was the original?
I was the original. Yep. It's still open for discussion. Go ahead, Tim.
I just have a general comment. This was definitely a learning curve. This was an unforeseen circumstance. The building burned over 10 years ago. It went into tax title about 2.5 years ago, and we've been in this process to get it taken down. We finally got there. But looking at the grand scheme of things, I have to I have a question that I've yet to get an answer to. We started a process. We had a letter of clearance dated April 7th. We didn't see any actions till May 8th, and then we had to stop the production. I went up there with Mr. Zosik, and that's when we had a call for the emergency meeting of the board for the change order because of the additional problem on the siding. My only concern and challenge, we had 31 days where nothing happened. And it's like, I'm having a little bit of a difficult time swallowing that because we executed a contract, but we kind of, okay, let's watch and let it roll out. Now, could we have anticipated this well in this tank? I don't believe it. And to Matt's point, yes, I used to do EPA level environmental compliance work. I am fully on board with what happened here, and I think Bob's team did us a great effort on this, and I can't question that whatsoever.
Nope. Glenn's comment, if you knew how the house was heated, why wouldn't we be looking for the tank?
Yep.
I certainly wouldn't have been expecting it to be under the driveway,
No,
but that is a good point, to bring it up,
and I don't know, I never made it down in the cellar myself. There could have been a tank in the cellar as well, and which I'm sure there was. Back in those days, even my father's, he put a 3,000 gallon tank in for his 14-room house. So a lot of that's still out there, and we'll be damn sure we'll check next one.
And that was part of my comment. I think this is a good, open our eyes up a little bit wider. This is a good learning curve and learning
A
opportunity.
lot of people
As
put,
long as we learn from it as we move forward.
a lot of people put dug wells in their cellar, a big hole in their cellar floor. So stuff like this is out there.
Any other questions? All right, on the motion to approve the additional expense for 10 Pleasant Street for TA oversight, how would you vote? Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Thanks for the in-depth description, especially the photos. Thank you.
Well done.
Have a good night.
You too.
You too. All right, last,
I'm done.
You earned it. I earned a good
I
night.
believe you're also. So want to talk about Scouts Hall?
last item on new business, item S, action related to TCTV support letter for funding bill. In your packets, we've got Steve's memo, looks like a recommended memo, and then just a point paper on opportunities and
I
challenges.
said, if you want to stay forward.
So we've got everything.
Oh, good evening. Well, as Chairman Curry said, you have before you a request to send a support letter to try to move the so-called streaming bill out of committee. If it sounds familiar, it is. We went through this a year or two ago, and you were kind enough to send a support letter, I believe, to Representatives Lotnick and State Senator Goby. Unfortunately, we're here again to rinse and repeat, right? So it's back in committee. We're trying to move it out of committee. Since that time, Representatives Lotnick has signed on as a petitioner or co-sponsor, sent me a nice note about it in the fall. So that's good. And as you may know, this streaming bills, as it is called, would enforce a surcharge on streaming entertainment companies of 5%. Some of that money, 40%, would go to operations like TCTV and other cable access stations. 40% would go to municipalities and 20% to the state. It has strong bipartisan support, and yet again, it's stuck in committee. So we're just trying to move that through, and the advisory committee had got wind that there's a lot of talk about some of this legislation and other legislation that could affect TCTV, and asked me to speak to them on it. So I did that. And they are sending a letter as well.
Steve, is the one where it says dear chairs, Farley, Bouvier, and more, are you advocating for us to put our seal on it and send it forward? Or what, are you just highlighting the issue? Because I'm all in. I totally agree.
Yeah, sure.
And as we're shifting from cable to streaming services, but we still have community, a necessity to report, to inform, and otherwise, as we're doing right now, utilizing your enterprise funds to inform the community. What is it that we can help you with?
If you can, well, first, if you can put your stamp on that letter.
Okay.
And, it's basically a template. Advisory is sending its own letter. And I think they thought that it would be more powerful coming from both committees.
Okay.
And Mass Access, the trade organization that we belong to of other cable access stations, is, lobbying to move this, or trying to get a majority of representation to be on this and support it and try to get it to a vote.
It was on the MMA's agenda, targeting this particular issue and encouraging boards to support it.
And
So Steve, would you want us to use this as a template, come
Sure.
up with what, you know, what we sent before, have all our 5 signatures at the bottom. That's what you envision?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and feel free to add or,
That's too easy.
edit that, how you want it.
Add me at rinse and repeat.
Doing that a lot like, and I also provided you with what I submitted to the advisory committee. They asked me to speak about these issues, so I prepared the bulleted list that you see there and outlined what we do, the challenges and obstacles that we face,
Yeah, I
which
refer
are
to it as-
kind of myriad right now. And what we're doing about it and plan to do about it, recommendations for what the town may consider to help support us. And I would welcome that discussion at another time because I can talk about this stuff all night, and please feel free to reach out to me and ask me if you see something on that list. Hey, what's this OTT thing? That looks interesting. Let's have a talk about it. And maybe I can come back and we can talk in more detail and form a plan. Because the streaming bill, it still, even though it has bipartisan support, it may not ever get out of committee.
Unless
And-
we write. Unless we take action.
Unless we take action, yeah. Us and other cities and towns in the state, in the Commonwealth.
351.
You and I can work on this. Use his template, come up with the board's response, 1-pager, like you got here. Okay,
Sure.
I would make a motion for the board. Oh. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't even know we had one there.
Oh.
You want to take that?
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the TCTV support letter for funding bill for the select board to, it says to sign, but to
For the select,
I move
select board
to-
to sign and
sign and be
for the chair
mailed
and TA to work final version for signature.
to the appropriate state, mailed to the appropriate state department.
Seconded.
Yeah, I just, all I added in was I can work with Adam.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna do what I did before with that. I'll use this as the template. Come up with it. It'll look like this, but it'll look like one of our letters, like when we sent
To the
on the
NEPA.
sludge. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that just me adding that into what you had said on the prepared motion that does that.
Okay.
Now, second. Any other discussion? Adam, I look over at you, but honestly, I can do all of that based on, I mean, he already did half the work. All I have to do is just reformat. Maybe add a rinse and repeat joke in there or something.
Well, I just want to mention too, Steve's TCTV's budget. I had some concerns with this last fiscal year 24 because literally all of his retained earnings he had to use for his budget which left him what $3 left in retained earnings. So it's getting to the point now where he's to continue this TCTV. There certainly needs to be these opportunities where we really try to advocate as much as we can to support TCTV in the sense of, streaming, because a lot of people are moving from the cable to streaming services. And that's going to have, we're concerned about the impact to TCTV in order for us to continue getting the coverage we get today. But if we had this discussion when we were going over the budget with his budget, and it's reality. It's made me when we talked about it, we had a long
What
discussion.
Steve wants to do is expensive. I mean, but it's proper for moving us to the next, IT level for how we're, providing service for the community.
And I'll just say, I don't want to sell after the sale, but we're in a really good position, I think, to move forward with what we're doing and providing the community information and valuable information, what we do with meetings. I think we're better prepared than a lot of other towns are, as we do the hybrid meetings. We're flexible. If the state comes up with meeting requirements, we can probably meet them. And, we're adding staff, we're moving forward. We have real momentum now.
You have
And-
owls.
Yeah, we have several of them, actually. And I think we can do a lot more. And I think we're already an asset for the town and we can become a really great asset for this community moving forward.
Agree.
Any other discussion points or questions for Steve. All right, hearing nothing on the motion to work on the letter and for the board to sign, how would you vote, Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Thanks for bringing us to it, Steve.
Thank you all. I appreciate your support.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of new business. We are now moving into item 6, old business. First item up is get action related to Scout Hall proposed use in letter from CPC. I'm not sure if we have action related to, or if it's just to consume some of the materials that were sent to us.
That's up to the board to decide ultimately how you want to proceed. We have a letter from the Community Preservation Committee. So we'll put it in the packet. And how you want to, I mean, we're getting close. If I can't through the chair, Holly. You already notified the contractor for Scouts Hall.
Yes, we sent the contract out for him to sign as well, so we're.
Okay, because it's over 10,000 has to be a contract. So this project's gonna be moving along. With the inside construction. By the time that gets done, so you know, this will have to be on the radar at some point, because we're
Okay.
getting closer and closer.
Understand. All right, so in our packet, we've got a lot of historical documentation. I saw 2016 as a date on many of the documents. Really, folks, the gist here is that Community Preservation Committee and the backup documentation wants to see a TCTV presence in Scout Hall. Full stop. I'm not sure what we can do for action tonight, but I can tell you, I never thought that TCTV was not going to be in there. And all of the time that and I know this has been, we've been working on Scout Hall for years, and all the time that I've had discussion, it has always included TCTV as a partner, not as a sole occupant, but as a partner to be, and TCTV, Steve, had provided us a few different proposals, some of his ideas, or otherwise how we could use some space within really to characterize it as studio space, but basically a usable place to be able to do some TCTV production. I've always supported that. I never wanted anything different. I think we've had discussions about overall use, potentially what the inside is going to look like after we achieve our minimally operational construction, that is making sure that the inside is sound, plumbing and otherwise. We can talk about fixtures and everything in the future, and not way out, but as far as involving TCTV in that discussion, I absolutely agree with chair of the Preservation Committee. And I'll open it up for any other discussion, or if you feel that we need to take action in some way this evening. I don't know. In terms of action, other than just a consensus, unless there was someone saying, no, I don't think that TCTV should be a part of this. We'll continue on working with the Community Services Department and Adam and, you know, the team that we kind of built up around this to be able to say what's next. But I use that term minimally operational use because that's really that was a milestone to say we've now got this building where it is usable. Right now, we're in there. We're not trying to hold meetings. You know, Steve's not trying to hold productions in there because it's not usable yet. When we get to that point, I think we can talk about access. We can talk about what is the process by which people will use this building, Scouts or otherwise. There's a process for Girl Scouts because my daughter went into the Boynton Library. There are processes that we can discuss for the use. I know that Julie is a heavy advocate for Scout use, as I you know, the name Scout Hall denotes. I'm gonna let the board go first. Is there any other discussion tonight other than accepting and giving some consensus that TCTV has a seat at the Scout Hall table? I'll open it up, Candy.
So my experience right now going through the construction at Gilman Way with the bathrooms and the little bit of money we have to do the concession stand is what I find is when you're doing a project like that, you have to know what it's gonna be to put in the, because that's what they did. They said to me in the concession stand, where do you want the plugs to go?
Mhm.
For what I'm doing. So if I'm cooking something, I need a plug here for the refrigerator or this. You had to know where things are gonna go. Well, you have to know what the building is gonna be used for. You have to commit to a use for it. Because when they put in those outlets and stuff, they have to have the right amperage if TCTV is going into this building. So if you're gonna waste money if you're putting in the things in the wrong places. If TCTV is going in this building, it has a lot of electrical needs
Mhm.
that need to be addressed when you're doing the building. So it is just irresponsible not to say the CCTV will go into it when you're working in the lighting aspect of it, putting in all that work, because you do it wrong, then they can't go in there. It's gonna be an issue, you know? That's my just personal opinion doing Gilman Way, that if, they did something wrong, we have to live with it and we can never go, I mean, we don't have the funds to go back. And so when you have the money to use it, you need to use it responsibly for what it needs to be done. So a plan for the building needs to happen. I don't feel like it, I mean, in construction wise, I just feel like, and why can't we? Why can't we as a town say, this is what it's gonna be utilized for? I mean, other buildings like the libraries, the library, the bathrooms are gonna, Gilman Way, maybe the bathrooms. I mean, these projects, are what they are. You have to know this project for this building, we knew it was gonna be town hall. They knew, you're gonna need a fax machine or whatever, a printer, or wherever you're gonna put the plug in for this building. And in this room, it was lighted. I mean, you can see TCTV in this room. So if you see all the different things, they're gonna have to do the same thing in Scouts Hall. They go to Scouts Hall.
So basically what you're saying is make sure the electrical panel in the basement has enough amperage to
Right, and where the
support.
plugs are gonna be, because you're spending the money on it, so why not say if they can go into it, why not commit to it? I mean, I don't know what we're waiting for.
Okay, so what was provided to us did not go that far. It basically advocated that they needed a seat at the table, and we can do that, or at least that we can do some consensus. There is definitely no one in the room prepared right now, although we did have engineering plans, Andrew built up.
That's what I want.
Okay, go ahead. I'll let you, that's really what that's where I was gonna go to address what she was talking about. I think we can get to what we wanted to do tonight. But if there's another feeling in the room that we need action now to say, this is exactly where Steve's desk is gonna go, or a TCTV item or other. I'm not saying that that's not required, but let's go back and look at the plans and I'm gonna, go ahead.
Well, what I'm gonna say is for the phase that we're into now,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the bigger concern is gonna be moving forward. Like cabinetry, all that. Electrical, I would say we have a pretty good idea of what we're gonna do because we do have the architect's plans, the plumbing. But there'll be some things that we really want to have clear picture of how we're gonna lay it out in the second phase.
Okay.
So the inside construction right now, because we went out to bid for that, we have the work that needs to get done, and we went out to bid for that portion. That's kind of already set right now. But I think maybe we could look at doing a tour when that's completed to have a better idea and to have that broader discussion. Ultimately, on the second phase, what's going to get done? Could we use ARPA for that? Are we going to go back to CPC for the funds? Are we going? That's the discussion that needs to be had, I think, after we expend the rest we got into this allocation. that we have that was appropriate for Scouts Hall. You know, Scouts Hall ran into some, like, you got some projects that move smoothly. You got other ones that
You know, this one had its share of.
it had its hiccups.
So I hear what you're saying. Let me at least ask that if you could validate. I hear what Candace is saying about making sure that the baseline, if our baseline, if Steve or TCTV overall, and Steve and TCTV are kind of synonymous. I know I'm talking about several people, but it's Steve that's the director. If Steve's thoughts were that there was going to be a hang up or otherwise, or it was going to be incompatible electrical, like, again, I get it. Let's identify that, but I agree with you. That was always the design, is to get this building some of the shell things corrected. Doesn't even have a bathroom. TCTV is not going to have an impact on the bathroom. I know Steve had some ideas, but if potentially at your level and Steve's within community services, if you can do a look to see if we're not getting the cart in front of the horse from an electrical standpoint or otherwise. I think we moved to make sure that we at least had the building in an operable state. But potentially, if you could look at that as well. I think we are going to have to define use, but that's not linked to the construction part as of right now.
Well said, Mike. I support you 100% with that comment. There was a committee in 2016 that was very active in the Scout Hall for about 12 to 14 months. And unfortunately, some hiccups came up and it was put on hold. The committee was dissolved, and then that project was given to the select board. And at which time, I think, as we have requested, we have gotten updates on the building and the construction and the finalization of this project. So to say that we should be making an action tonight to say anyone can go in there and go, I want my plug here and I want my plug there. I think we're putting the horse before the cart. That's just.
I just ask Adam to work with Steve.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm not, he's looking at the monitor, otherwise, just trying to make some eye contact with you, so I know that he's either,
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I'm with you.
I'm like, nah, he's on the monitor. But I don't see any action necessary right now. We're too short here. We need to get the building ready for occupancy. And I agree with your earlier statements in regards to no one ever said, we never said who was going to be present or not present. We always considered the fact that the Scouts and TCTV would be there. Steve was actually on the committee with me back in the day when we had these short, early discussions. So it's never been put back off the table. I just feel like I'm excited that we're going to the next step. We're getting there. And then it's exciting to see that we have CDC that has sent a nice letter of support for TCTV. So at that point, I say, I'm not going to vote on anything personally tonight. I don't think there's anything there to vote on unless it was expenditure of funding that they were getting a contractor in there, which it's not. So I think this is great, and I'm looking forward to another update in another month like we've been requesting. So I would like that on the agenda for the first August.
Yeah, and I'll let you.
I wanted to say one more thing. So.
First August meeting
So
would be
money
great.
was
Steve.
given to the building from CPC.
Yep.
CPC was given an application package for what the use was.
Mhm.
And the town, and then they voted for it and went to town floor and a warrant, and then the town voted. It was based on that package. On that package, it says the use, TCTV, and it says the Scouts use it together. So I don't understand what the action is anyway, because that committee voted to send it to the floor, and then the townspeople voted based on that. So I feel like it's already been set. So that's why I don't understand. That's why my action would be to say, yeah, that's already set.
We're in violent disagreement
Right.
a violent agreement with each other.
But what I'm saying is, as I sit, I'm just gonna say, I sit on the CPC. So I vote for something and it goes to town warrant. right?
Yep.
And then the town votes for it based on what it was, what the project was, what was this project, what was the funds
Do you-
for?
Do you have schematics?
The package is the application. The application shows TCTV, and then there's, I guess there's a provision where it talks about how the scouts will be in there too for meetings. It discusses it in the original package that went. to the-
I got it all. Yep.
And that's where
I
the
cannot
funds,
tell you how many pieces of paper I've looked at on
that's
this.
where the funds was supposed to be going for. That's what the intent was for the building. That's what the town voted for. That's where, I mean.
Again,
Maybe they didn't have it all.
we are in
go where
violent
they
agreement
needed
with
to
each
go.
other. We're good. Everything that John, as the chair, wrote, we're in agreement with.
I'm just saying that I don't want, like, you know, because boards change and things change, and then next thing you know, I mean, we look at River's Edge, it didn't get act up.
Point of order.
I'm gonna stop you because we're going way beyond what we wanted to tonight. I want to finish it with one question. Obviously, that the board had something else that they wanted to add. Do you believe, Steve, that we are acting without, we are leaving you in the dust and we're moving on without any consideration?
No, I don't believe that.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve,
We're
for
moving
putting that
forward,
on the
and
record.
he is going to be involved. I've seen plenty of his mock-ups or otherwise. I don't see that in here. I don't see the chair saying, please approve this mock-up that TCTV wanted. Or otherwise, we're not there
I'm
yet.
just saying. what
I
the
get
building
it.
is, What the building's gonna be.
Okay,
right?
I don't
So
have an answer
they have
for you.
what the Gilman Way building's gonna be. You say
Okay.
that's bathrooms, right? You
Yeah.
say that's concession stand. So you say the tennis court, you say.
TCTV and Scout Hall, that's what it's
Yeah.
gonna be. We're good.
Let's
Right.
not just.
We're not fighting here.
Yeah.
I agree with Mike. We need to shut this down. We're all in agreement.
I'm asking Adam and Steve to have the discussion to see if the current basic thing is going to be a showstopper. Have that discussion or otherwise, we're gonna proceed normally.
It's not like we all go around. I just wanna make sure we're all going around saying the right thing it's gonna be.
Yes,
That's all.
okay,
That it's not gonna turn around and be something different.
okay, yes,
Okay, so you can just say it's gonna be TCTV and scouts. That's what's going in the building.
yes, we've said that from. the moment
Day one.
we started up. Yeah.
That, I just wanted to clarify. I was confused sitting on the CPC board and I think.
Where are you gonna take this?
The letter, so I mean, obviously I was confused.
Okay,
I
thank you.
just wanted to make a flip side comment. Is Steve still located in Ballinville in the former light company building?
That's
Yes,
where.
we have a closet there.
Okay, so once you vacate that building, is there any plans in place for that building down the road?
That's up to the light department. I've heard some, things that they may want to do with it. I don't want to speak for them.
Right.
But they've been great landlords in letting us be there. It's a 12 by 8 foot closet with a rack and old equipment.
But you're the only occupier of that space, right? I mean, of the whole building?
Oh, no,
Or is there other?
the light department uses it.
Light
They,
department
they
uses it,
store turbine parts there, the chipper, the trailer. So
Okay.
they're in and out of there all the time.
Just curious.
I'd like to hear from community services at some point, if you could work with community services to say where I know that was a charge that we gave her. It's been a couple of years, but it was a charge that we gave to her. I'm not asking for a product or otherwise, but let's retool that discussion so we can proceed. I'm good. Thank you for your questions and your concerns, and thank you to the letter.
I just want to enter
Yep.
one quick comment.
Yep.
And full disclosure, as a former scout leader, we were slowly pushed out and eventually evicted, starting in 2011, 2012. When the Council on Aging had the one corner office and then urban sprawled and took over the whole floor. There was nowhere for the scouts to meet. I'm not saying that that's gonna absolutely be the case, but I do have a concern. Troop 27 Templeton is a veteran unit, 50 to 55 years in age. I'd like to see the scouts get back into Scout Hall.
100%.
But there are a whole bunch of other mechanisms, though, who can be there when the scouts are there and this, that, and the other. And I just don't want to see
Access
it. get-
control and everything. I agree.
understand that.
I've
I
got
just-
some ideas.
I just don't want to see us get to where we were before, and I lived through it, my son lived through it. Where you walked in one night and we couldn't conduct a meeting because all the space was occupied. And you just sit there going, okay.
Yeah, at 9:40, June 14th, we are not ready to
Nope.
have that discussion. I wish we
Well,
had
I
some
think
more
it'd be-
answers on that.
I just think it would be wonderful if the scouts would have the TCTV even in there, because I think that could also be something the scouts could work with too. Having a television in there.
Okay.
And scouts, I think you have to see the picture, but I could see it.
Any other board comments? All right. Good discussion. I think we at least achieved what we were trying to come to some consensus on. Last item under old business is an update on the letter to Economic Development Secretary Howe. 12 and 16 School Street. Adam, I think you got this. You want to give us an update?
I do. Y'all, I'm not sure if heard the latest, fortunately, the Baldwin Elementary School project wasn't approved by DHCD. They're going to be putting in another request, I think, within the next 3 weeks or so. We also, their request has significantly grown from when they originally proposed with everything, inflation, cost, supply chain issues, everything has went up. They've approached CPC for an additional ask. We're hopeful because they did commit a substantial amount towards that project for affordable housing in this town. But we're also looking at, and the town's been supportive of their application of the One Stop for Community Growth under the underutilized properties program, put in an application for grant funding for this project as well. So we could really, whatever that gap was, we were trying to close that gap as much as possible. We're hopeful. I put a call into DHCD, Department of Housing and Community Development, and this is a very important project. I can't stress the significance that this will bring to Templeton. It's already been supported by town meeting. We desperately need affordable housing, not just in Templeton, but across the Commonwealth. I think the governor relayed that to us.
I was about to say, the governor, this is like one of the plank things, and you know, how we're being left behind by this decision, you know, for this outcome. I won't say decision, but for this outcome. I don't want Templeton to get left behind. I mean, should we reach out to the governor's office? Should we ask Representative Slotnick for a strategy to try and address this, to say there's some disparity here, or at least I feel like there is disparity if we cannot proceed with this housing project.
Well, and that's why I'm looking at it from the standpoint of we're exhausting every resource possible.
Yeah.
We're putting in this with economic development, working with the developers. We're hopeful that the CPC will further their commitment. With understanding that, you know, this is roughly almost now that upwards of over $28 million project coming into Baldwinville, that this will revitalize that whole section of the community. We also put in our CDBG application for infrastructure upgrades. 3 of those roads up there. The Templeton Housing Authority is very supportive of this project as well. You're going to see a lot of improvements in that area.
I agree.
I think this
Has the ask gone to CPC yet?
it has.
Okay, what are we looking at?
We're looking at, I think they're having like an information meeting or something. Yeah, I think you're gonna have an information meeting. I believe the ask was 750,000. If I can recall off the top of my head. So if they're supportive of that, that will probably end up at the fall town meeting. I can't stress the importance of this project.
Did we feel that it was a dollar threshold that might have lent us to a disapproval?
That's what my conversation with the developers was, because of the ask they felt was. Because it's grown significantly.
However, we can assist you and the CPC and MPZ to show how much we're bleeding for this and needing and bleeding. We are using a lot of our own resources to see this come to fruition.
I think
if the governor can help by putting their finger on a scale.
And for the last round, 4 properties in Worcester County or 4 developments, I should say, got supported from DHCD. A lot will tell, I think, in this next round. I do feel confident that will be, you know, this is they got in there, and I think if we make some more, the town has more commitments towards this project, they're gonna realize that Templeton wants this to get done. That's my take on it.
Okay. Thanks for your letter in here. Do you
Strong enough.
do you wanna, right, do you wanna do a
Strong.
follow-up? Like, you know, we are, you know, deeply disappointed in their
Yeah.
decision, that kind of thing?
Yeah, like what?
I have a phone call in
Yeah,
to Kate. Let me wait till I
yeah.
hear
If
back
you
from.
could brainstorm some ideas, I mean, certainly, as I look at the rest of the board, we want to help in any way we possibly
Yeah.
can.
That was a big disappointment.
Whatever horsepower you think we can add
A
to.
lot of time has been spent on this project already. It's years.
Yeah, I believe the vote from CPC that they're still committed to the project they took. I think they just had to look at some accounts of theirs. They just want to see where they're at with potential projects and what they ask of the developers for this one, so. I think we're all on the same page. I think this is been supported by town meeting, and I think I'm hopeful it's gonna be funded for DHCD funding in the near future, so.
When do you want to circle back on this?
Good question.
Let's say next couple months. Let's see what happens.
At that kind of time?
I've been working with the developers.
All right. You know, the governor had her first 100 days. I feel like that might be an avenue. If we want to bring that up again, if we want to send a letter, if you thought that, or if within your team, if there was somehow we could leverage that, the fact that she's got housing as one of her initiatives, and here we are in a community that sorely needs this project. I don't know.
Yeah, we had that conversation when we heard the governor speak in Boston. About this
I know.
project.
It just makes me disappointed that it's not all engines ahead and approve, you know, all these approvals. If it's a matter of funding, if there was a contingent offer to say, you know, you're disapproved, however, you know, maybe that, again, whatever we can do to work on additional resources. It's a lot, you know, something that once you go over 1 million, if it's with people in this community, I would think would pay attention and say, ooh, this is a big one. This isn't 80, you know, this isn't $20,000 for this or
That they do.
50,000 for that.
Yeah.
This is,
They spend enough energy on the
Yeah.
smaller projects. They should really get involved in the bigger projects. This is huge for Templeton. I agree.
Substantial.
and it's still, when we have that cost to keep this, the building from falling apart and getting vandalized and otherwise.
Well, none of that, but all the work that went into this up to this point, going through the disposition process all the way.
All right, we're approaching the 10 o'clock time, so the time estimate is pretty good. That was our last old business item. Thanks for the update on that. Anyone else have any questions on that, or would you like to move into board member comments? Matt, would you like to start us off?
I'm good this evening. No, honestly.
2 meetings deep, going well?
My head's still above water.
This is a long one.
I'm still swimming, so we'll be all right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth.
Thank you, Terry. Julie?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Vice?
2 quick things. I had my first MRPC meeting last month. There was a little bit of a disconnect that ended up being a remote meeting, even though everything indicated it would be live. So I sat in my car for 2.5 hours on my phone trying to do a go-to meeting connection, which was fading in and out, but very interesting. This is their long meeting. They approved their budget process. They approved their new slate of officers. And interestingly enough, they don't take effect till the 1st of July. So they're kind of in their, the lame ducks are waiting and falling out and the new ones are getting ready to take over. They don't meet at all next month. Our next proposed meeting and scheduled meeting is in August. Next week, I have my first MMPO meeting and I'm still trying to pin down, is that one live or am I gonna do that remote? That's gonna be our big focus on some of the housing concerns, some of the transportation concerns, some of the busing concerns, so we definitely. A lot of things for me to be following up on, pushing through with, so we're watching that very closely and. Glad to work on it, a little bit more work than I thought, but you know, it's doable. It's not an insurmountable task, we'll just continue to chug along. And yeah, Flag Day was today. I don't think they did the disposal of the flags at the Legion tonight as they had anticipated, but I will try to figure that out. And I'm sure there will be other things coming. The Phillipston Boy Scout troop has also done some work to properly retire flags. It was an Eagle Scout project. They did a little burn pit, so there'll be other opportunities as the summer progresses to properly dispose of and retire our worn and tattered American flags. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Probably just need an update on Rotary project, see where that stands maybe for the next meeting. Whether it's under old business, if we have an update, I'd love to have it, or otherwise, because it's kind of one of those things that are sticking out there. Army birthday, happy birthday, US Army. I've got nothing else. Good meeting. Adam, do you have anything?
I'll be
Or
brief.
Or the assistant town administrator?
Tim on the MRPC MPO, I believe we'll have there's gonna be a lot going on. Between Route 2 project here, the state project, then we have the roundabout, which I believe they have scheduled for July 8th. So you have those are two massive projects, state projects. Then this board approved the Chapter 90 plan. So as you all know, Bob used the RAP money for Hamlet Mill Road. And then also portion of Brooks Road when we had that citizen come in that was complaining. And then Bob looked at the payment management plan and did that portion.
Gentlemen.
Then the board approved the use of Chapter 90 money to do Highland Avenue and then Shore Drive and a portion of North Main, I believe. North Main. But then Bob's also, so we're gonna see a lot of road work getting done. I think that residents, when Tim gave the state of the annual report to town meeting, you know, at first we thought we were just gonna be an additional road, but Bob was able to make it be able to get more done with the Chapter 90 once he got the estimates in. So people in town are gonna be seeing a lot of this work getting done. And I do want to stress the importance. And when Bob comes up with this list before he even brings it for the select board for approval, we do follow that pavement management study, that plan that was done in 2018. It's available on the webpage. Because I hear it all the time. Well, what about my road? What about this? Well, go online, check out the pavement management plan. You could see the pavement condition index right there. We follow that and we try to, you know, not only that, but maintaining roads like Baldwinville Road, the crack sealing to preserve the good roads we got as well. Hopeful, and finally, I'm hopeful we could get a grant writer in to go for whether it be infrastructure grants, whatever grants we could get to continue the infrastructure projects that have been a priority of the town.
Yeah.
And I think, I think we see a lot of good things happening, and you know, as long as I think we're making the town a better place, just a little bit each and every single day, people understand that we're moving forward in the right direction, and that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Adam.
It was a long meeting, so thank you all for your patience.
But statistically, it's gonna be shorter than some. Holly, do you have anything? All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any last rounds, save rounds? Hearing nothing, motion to adjourn. How do you vote? Matt?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Tim?
Very fun.
And I vote yes as well.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Glenn. We are adjourned at 9:54. Our next meeting is
June 28th.
July, huh?
June 28th.
June 28th.